Welcome everybody to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Sunday. So you know what that means. We're going to have another Sunday conversation. This is an important conversation because we are approaching the school year. And it's always great to talk to the parents, the community organizations, the teachers, the folks about what schools look like, what's going on. Today we talk about embracing the village and education. Y'all know me. I'm always trying to find out who is the village. Who are these people? But we have some amazing folks from APEC that is here to help today's Sunday conversation. So I'm looking forward to pricking their brains and getting all the information that's going on. I know there's been a lot of meetings, a lot of things that's happening for the parents in the community. And we have to get involved and find out what's going on. And today we're going to talk about some of those things, some of the issues that's impacting our young people in the educational system. I know there's a number of things that are challenging. There's a lot of disparities in our educational realm, especially not only here in San Francisco, but across this country when it comes to our young Black and brown children. So I think today will be a great conversation. Today, the voice is out. My brother Mark's out being a great dad, doing what great dads do, take care of business. So shout out to him and prayers to his family for all the good things that's going on for them. I know our other team member, Charisma, is out. Miss Jones celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday, Leo Queen. All of the Leos out there. You know, my birthday next Friday, so I'm getting ready. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know next Friday, but it's the Leo season, so it's always great. Happy birthday to Charisma, enjoying her time off, and to the rest of the folks, thank you all. Before we get started, just want to say a couple things before I bring Ayo up here and talk to the lovely people. First of all, I want to say to my amazing both sides of the conversation team. We always just salute people in the community that's always giving back. And this weekend, we were honored. Okay. I know they put my name on it, but none of this happens without my team. All right. The both sides of the conversation team is very, very committed, dedicated individuals. We was awarded for the Community Hero Award for Invest Black. So I just want to give a shout out to my guy, Renard, and to the Invest Black family, to all of the amazing folks that showed up to come celebrate this night with them, as well as all of the Community Hero Awards that went out to all the community folks, amazing folks who are, beating the odds, doing things to change the narrative to help impact our community. So just want to give a shout out to all of those community heroes who won awards and was a part of this past Friday night's event. It's always great. I was telling somebody that our community needs validation. So I guess one of the things is good to have these acknowledgments, because this work, when you talk about working with community, doing this work in the community, nonprofit work, or just work that impacts others, you could never make the money that it takes to endure all of what we do. So being able to be recognized by the peers, by the community is always a great thing. So I just want to say thank you to the both sides of the conversation team, all of the folks and all the different departments that do what they do to help push equity forward with the community, make sure that we bring in the resources and information to the community, being a part of the community. When we talk about community engagement, when we talk about the resources and information, that's what we're trying to do here with our part, and just making sure that we're impacting community for what we do. And we just thank all of the folks who continue to uplift and sponsor the work we do because it is important. And, we just glad. So with that being said, thank you, Invest Black. Thank you to all of the amazing folks that acknowledge the work that is happening in the community. We know there is some work happening. There is more work needed. We have a lot of things that we need to tackle in our communities, but we are putting in the work, and there's a number of other folks who are working as well. With that being said, Sister Ayo, welcome. It's me and you today. We hold it down. Talk to the people, Queen.
Good afternoon, community. I just want to piggyback off what you said. It was a great weekend out in the community, both Friday and Saturday. Again, my hat's off to all of the honorees from Friday, everyone who was out in the community and, bridging those gaps and actually doing the work, putting forth the effort and the one common goal that everybody is trying to reach in repairing and rebuilding and restructuring our community for unity. And like you said, equality throughout each and every one of the different districts. Everyone came together on one accord, and it was a really beautiful event. We had some laughs, laugh until you cry. I know I did. Friday was a great evening. And also Saturday, the Be Magic backpack giveaway. That was an amazing, amazing event. All of the different organizations who came out, that was just so awesome. Giving back to the community and being there, being present. It was nothing but love. It was a great event. I got to see some of my old people there. We were literally in the community I grew up in, right down the street from my old house. So it was really good to be there and to see everyone. And all of, like I said, all the organizations that were there, we got some really good information and we were able to actually make some great connections. So it was a great weekend for both sides of the conversation and the community in general. Thank you.
Yes, it was. And I want to give a huge shout out to Brittany Ford. I wasn't going to forget her. I was just trying to get through it, but definitely want to give a shout out to Brittany Ford, to the B Magic family, the Mo Magic family, and Uncle Stank, everybody over at Collective Impact. Again, families were impacted yesterday with this backpack giveaway and just helping get our community ready for our young people to go back to school. Also, community, before I get into the news, okay, there is a call to action. The COVID is starting to, the numbers of COVID is going up. As our young people are going back to school, as we approach the wintertime, it seems like these COVID numbers are increasing. So community, just be careful. There's a lot of community organizations who are still trying to get out COVID test kits, but we might want to start masking up. Also, there's some infectious disease that's spreading across Central Asia. So we just got to be careful as we approach this wintertime. Some stuff going on, but make sure, community, you are washing your hands. Wear masks if you possibly can, but keep the hand sanitizer on you as these germs are spreading around in our communities. With that being said, I'm going to jump into the community news, then turn it over to Al for the events so that we can get into today's conversation because I know folks are waiting to hear from these amazing folks. With that being said, if you all haven't heard, Maui's dealing with some wildfires that took the death of 93 people. The officials are saying also they are looking for families to bring DNA to the cities so that they can identify some of these folks. Very tragic events to see that happening. They saying that this is the worst wildfire with the amount of death tolls in a century. So very unfortunate. I know a lot of folks out there. I know our mayor is still out there. And we just pray that everybody's safe and get up out of there as safely as possible. But again, tragedy, these wildfires is taking over and impacting our communities. Also, 4 dead in the Pennsylvania explosion that leveled several homes, at least one still missing. Community folks said it looked like a war zone out there, but they said it was an explosion. They said that what may have caused the explosion is yet to be determined, but they're thinking that it's something with the lightning and thunder and natural gas. So again, they are still investigating what's finding out. The Red Cross has showed up to help support the families. But again, very tragic situation with that. Also, DeSantis, the governor that is trying to run for president, came to San Francisco. And he chose to use San Francisco as a political prop to talk about the city homeless issues, and basically was saying that the woke leftist policies is driving the complexity with the problem. He criticized our city officials and some of the folks here in California about the homeless issue. And, a lot of people are calling him out. He's calling himself he's Christian and Christian based. But again, this is the issue in our politics right now. When we're talking about people, and this is why I talk about how we have to be important and intentional how we segregate things, because again, these are still American people. All right. And we got to leave the politics alone when it comes to people. And what we're looking for is leadership in this country, someone that can step up and say, we have an issue that's in our community that we need to address. That's what we need to be hearing from potential presidents and folks of that nature, is not, shunning the problems that are happening, but how can their leadership and their policies and what they're trying to do help impact this problem that's impacting not only here in San Francisco, but across the United States of America. So again, very disappointed to hear that from DeSantis. But again, this has been typical from a lot of the Republicans and their party. And it's just tragic, and it's like at some point in America, when do we really start looking at, we have human beings who are struggling in multiple ways. And we have to find out at the end of the day, how do we get our people back on their feet? How do we get our people back into housing? How do we give them the substance abuse and mental health support? And that should be something that's all of us because when these situations are resolved and they are being impacted with positive impact, the trajectory of all of our cities and counties and states do better and thrive better. So I hope as we continue to approach these political seasons that's coming up, that folks are paying attention, listening to what's going on, and also getting involved, because it's just very important for community to be involved. And then I kind of mentioned some of it, but the COVID cases is rising in San Francisco as the school year kicks off. The city officials are asking parents and people, like, are people worried? We'll talk a little bit about it today, but yes, the school is starting back, and a lot of folks are worried. But again, diseases is around, things are happening all the time. Again, how do we educate our community to wear masks? Make sure that our young people understand the importance of washing their hands and what they touching and cleaning up behind themselves and sanitizing, especially in our homes. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to Miss Ayo to get us through all the community events, what's going on around the city and the Bay, and letting people know. So go ahead, Sister Ayo.
Bear with us. We have a lot of events. Summer 2023 employment workshop drop-ins and walk-ins are welcome. 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., June 5th until August 17th, 2023, at 55 Taylor Street in San Francisco. The African American Arts and Culture Complex is pleased to announce the search for a managing director to join their management team. The closing date for applications is August 18th. The Recovery Day Planning Committee is hosting the third annual Recovery Day, August 18th, 12 to 3 p.m. at Bodecker Park, located at Jones and Eddy Street in San Francisco. Admission is free. There will be free food and raffles. The Order of Malta Clinic of Northern California is looking to hire a clinical nurse supervisor in Oakland. Please contact Ann Brusack. Join the AALAA for a community panel discussion on Saturday, August 19th at 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Come out, join the conversation, and meet folks at Plymouth United Methodist Church of Christ at 424 Monte Vista Avenue in Oakland. SF Black presents the San Francisco Soul Musical Festival, a free event on Sunday at 12 p.m., August 20th, 2023. It will be held at the Yerba Buena Gardens, 750 Howard Street in San Francisco. There will be live musical performances and more. Chillin' and Grillin', San Francisco, District 11, Sunday, August 20th, 2023, Ocean View Park at 650 Capitol Avenue at Montana, 12 p.m. to 3 p.m., free to the public. Hi, Charisma.
Oh, hi.
Come out for the 2023 Portrayal Day on the Green, Family Day. It will be Saturday, August 26th from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. It will be located at the Portrayal Hill Gym at 801 Arkansas Street in San Francisco. Volunteers are needed, so please register at the email in the comments. OMI Cultural Participation Project, a day at the races, Saturday, August 26, 11:30 a.m. till 3 p.m. at Golden Gate Fields Racetrack Turf Club, 11 East Shore Highway in Berkeley, California. Entry fee is $100. Cole Tenderloin's Job Readiness Program, September 5th, 2023 at 222 2nd Street in San Francisco. This will be held Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And orientation is Friday, September 1st at 55 Taylor Street. Code Tenderloin's free coding boot camp is September 6th through the 25th, Monday through Thursdays at 6 p.m. at 55 Taylor Street. New vaccination site, COVID-19 booster monkeypox antiviral pill treatment, Thursdays, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. at 330 Ellis Street, as well as Saturdays, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 1221 Mission Street. The San Francisco Justice Project presents the SF Museums for All program, free or $3 admissions to low-income families in San Francisco all summer long. The community living room open all day, Monday through Friday, breakfast 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., and grab-and-go lunch 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. at City of Hope Cafe at 750 Ellis Street in San Francisco. International Shakeout Day on October 19th, 2023. Join in on the world's largest earthquake drill. Register to participate. Farmers Market located at the Southeast Community Center, 1550 Elvin Street in San Francisco. Every Thursday now through November 30th at 3 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. They accept cash, debit, and EBT. OMI Cultural Participation Projects presents The Lion King, Friday, December 8th at 7:30 p.m. at the Orpheum Theater, 1192 Market Street in San Francisco. OMI Cultural Participation Project also presents The Wiz, Saturday, January 27th at 2024 at 7:30 p.m. at the Golden Gate Theater, 1 Taylor Street in San Francisco. SF Human Rights Commission has a regular bi-monthly commission meeting on the second and fourth Thursdays of each month at 5 p.m. in the SF City Hall Room 416. You can attend also via Zoom. Be a mentor in SFUSD. Join SFUSD's school-based mentoring program, Mentoring Success. Sign up to volunteer as an individual or group mentor district-wide. Would you like to promote your business, your nonprofit, or community impact? Sign up for our Hidden Gems show. Share your expertise on our Educational Thursdays or be a panelist on a Sunday's conversation. Keep up with both sides of the conversation's latest shows and community outreach events. Follow us on all of our social media platforms. You can also subscribe to our newsletter at bsotc.org. Both sides of the conversation welcomes individuals who are interested in giving back to their community to join us as volunteers. We value the positive impact volunteers can make and invite you to be a part of our mission to uplift and support the community. Both sides of the conversation kindly request your invaluable support for our podcast and community engagement endeavors. We cordially invite you to explore any of our donation links, as your generous contributions will greatly aid us in enhancing our programming. We would like to take this time to acknowledge the Dreamkeeper Initiative and its support for BSOTC's programming. The Dreamkeeper Initiative amplifies the voices of and invest in San Francisco's diverse Black communities to reform public safety and address structural inequities in San Francisco. We have our Tuesday Hidden Gem show coming up August 15th at 7 p.m. We still have slots available, so feel free to sign up. Also, our Educational Thursday with Daryl McCullough, I believe that's how you say his name, I'm sorry, on how to start your social and living business. See you soon.
Thank you for all of the community events. Look who popped up, the birthday girl. What's up, Charisma? Happy to see you here to come and see what's going on for this Sunday's conversation.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Sorry I was running a little bit late. I was out to brunch, still, celebrating.
Still celebrating. That's right.
You get a Leo pass, okay? You get a Leo pass. All right. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and bring up our panelists for today, and then we're going to have Io read the stats and intro for today's show. With that being said, I'm going to bring up Miss Riande. How you doing, Queen?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful on this beautiful Sunday.
Glad to have you. I know my little brother back there giving you the blues today. We'll be patient with him today.
He is.
Glad to have you here for today's conversation. We're gonna bring up Mr. Farr. Welcome to both sides of the conversation. Holla at the people. You gotta unmute yourself. Go.
Okay. Happy Sunday. Thank you for having me.
Thank you as well. Happy to have you here. We're gonna bring up Mama Pearl. Look at Mama Pearl. What's going on, Mama Pearl?
Happy Sunday. How you guys doing?
Doing good. Happy to have you here. Today should be a great conversation. I know you always bring a bright perspective to things, so it should be great. I see Tony Hines in the background. I don't know if her computer said it's not connected, so I guess once we get Tony connected, we'll bring her up into the conversation. I know Tony always has a great perspective as well. But with that being said, to kick off today's conversation community, we are talking about the village. Okay, embracing the village in education. There is some educational needs, some educational things that we need for our young people. And this is why this conversation is important as we kick off the new school year. We're going to need parents in the community to get involved. We're going to need community folks to get involved with mentorship, tutoring. We need support, okay, from the community and our community parents. So with that being said, I'll read the intro and the stats, and then we're going to get into today's conversation.
Welcome to a much needed back to school discussion on both sides of the conversation. As the new school year edges closer, we deem it necessary to have a crucial conversation centered around the theme of empowering the Black community, embracing the village in education. With a panel comprised of local educators, advocates, and community members, we'll discuss this profound significance of the village concept in shaping the educational journey of our youth. Join us as we talk about communal support, inventive strategies for bridging the gaps, and the collaborative efforts required to shape an inclusive and empowering learning environment for our youth. Together, we will uncover how we can harness the strength of our community to uplift the next generation and pave a path towards their success. Stats. San Francisco Unified School District is the 7th largest school district in California, educating around 49,000 students every year. Black African American students make up 7% of the San Francisco Unified School District student population. The SFUSD Spring 2022 CAASPP Math Smarter Balanced test results indicated that 9% of Black or African American students scored at a proficient or above, which is less than half of the proficiency rate reported in English language learners. The SFUSD Spring 2022 CAASPP English Language and Arts Smarter Balance test results show that 18% of the Black and/or African American students scored at a proficient or above a proficiency rate equivalent to the English language learners.
All right. Well, thank you for those stats. Great information. I know there's a lot of things that we need to talk about because there's a number of concerning items when we talk about what's going on with our young people. But you all make up a body of the APAC as well as parents and community activists. We know there's some problems in San Francisco when it comes to dealing with Black and brown students, the educational structure, the meetings, the board meetings, the PTA meetings, a lot of disparities and struggles that we face in this community when we talk about education and young people and engagement of and roles of the school and the family and the community. So this is a much needed conversation every year, all year, a continued conversation, but every year we want to always highlight and touch these topics about education around this time of the year because it is the start of the school years. And I believe if we start off on a good path, we can end up on a real decent one. I know the year gets long and it gets challenging. But you all as parents, you all as community leaders and organizations are the real body makeup of how we move. And I think with you all influence and how we connect civically plus in community and as families, I think you all can help push the change that we need. So with that being said, I want to open the conversation up because there's a lot of things that community will learn today. But as you all are involved in the process of going back to school, let's open it up and see how has the beginning and the start of the transition of coming back to school, how has it been effective or ineffective for our community families, for community? Because I know every year there's challenges. Is there anything that you all see on the horizon or that you experience as we start getting into the first days of school, or has everything been a smooth transition?
Hi, John. I'll start since I was the last on.
Go ahead.
Hi, everybody. I am Tony Hines, and I'm a parent leader. So we have a new person leading the district. We have a new board, a new president. So that, to me, is always hope. Having said that, I'm cautiously optimistic that things will be better, that our children will be able to get into the schools they want to get into, that they deserve to be into. Because I even have a family member that has gotten into Lowell because that's what he wanted. So I'm just cautiously optimistic, and that's the only way I can do this work. Thank you.
Now, Tony, there's a couple of things that we know last year that we struggled in the district, especially at Lowell and different schools, dealing with the parents. And I mean, dealing with the parents and the teachers always is a tough challenge. But what are some of those things? Because you highlighted, being optimistic about, the change. What are some of the things, just for folks who may not understand some of the struggles that families and organizations dealt with in the school year out the year, and what this leadership change, what does that equity look like? What does that inclusion look like? What does that change that as a community leader that you would like to see being involved?
One thing I would like them to quit asking us, I'm talking about the district leaders, the same questions every year and not listening to our answers and implementing them. For example, if we say we think there needs to be a program for the girls, for them to be able to learn certain things, and we've said it for 10 years, I'm just making that up, and then they don't do it. And we've said it, so why don't you do what we said? So that's one thing. I hope they listen to what we said. Or how about this? Quit asking us and go back and read what we said, because everything we do, we've left the archive for you. We've left blueprints. We have newsletters. Like anything you want to know, we put out there, and we support it from the parents' voice. It's not even just our opinion, because yes, we're parents and grandparents, and we're navigating the school district ourselves. But it's like, quit asking us the same questions. And I'll tell you one good thing I've always appreciated: the other advisory councils work lockstep with us. We have never let them divide and conquer us, like the CAC that works with special ed. Some people are on both of the committees, so that's always been a plus. So I'm always like extremely happy. Like if I need something, I could just ask them. I don't have to go to the board or figure it out. So that's one good thing, that the parents work together.
Wow, I think that's very powerful, and I'm glad you said that, and actually naming that, because again, when we talk about leadership, that's the part that always frustrates me, right? And it's just like, if we're not listening to the community, we're not making change. See, and I go in these meetings, I tell these people, everybody want to partner with the community, but they never want to listen to the community. They just want to take over, from all of these agencies, right? The school district is the point, because today is the point of the topic, but all of these systems that we look at that impact our communities, from mental health, from all of the services, no one's listening to the community. And I'm saying, if y'all not listening to the community, but y'all expecting to get a different results, this is why we're in this standing moment of nothing's happening. All right. We need our teachers to listen to the parents. We need our district folks to listen to the parents and implement it. I think is the most important thing, because we have all of these historic things and values that we know need to take place. And that is the realest question, is like, why can't we get them done? Because when we're not getting them done, then it's a direct point at that's the problem. If we giving you the solution to the problem and y'all not addressing it, and basically y'all saying screw us, and y'all not trying to hear nothing that our families need. So I think with the new leadership that's coming in, that's the challenge. That's the call to action right there. Tony has given to community, to all of our principals out there, to all our elected officials. Understand this: when the community is giving you something, find a way to put them in action. Find the resources, find the opportunity to bridge that gap. We have to check things off the list so that we can actually say, hey, we tried this, X, Y, and Z. But if we don't even try that, and we just soon something happened, it's all, you guys tell me what's going on. How can we fix it? So I agree with you, Tony. That's very powerful. But I want to move it around to Pearl and the rest of the folks on the panel. This is an open conversation. Let's get into it, because there's a lot of things that impact everybody differently. But thank you, Tony.
Well, I agree with what she's saying, especially with so many new people coming in. We have to reiterate to them what it is that we've already, giving them the solution for how our children learn and what solutions will work for our children in our communities, and them actually implementing it. I'm sure there's a laundry list of things that you guys have presented, that many parents have presented and board members have presented, that get brushed under and lost by the wayside because they're like, okay, we tried this, and this, then what's next? Check it off the list. Let's try something else. If it's not working for you, or there's a way that we can come together and we can both utilize these tools, then let's go down the list of things that we've already given you that you aren't using and see if that works. Because there's a laundry list, as I said, of solutions here that you guys just check off the first 3 things. And there's like, oh, we got to go back to the drawing board. No, let's start off where we finished and continue down the list until we find something that actually works. Then if anything on this list does not work for us, then we can come collectively to come to another common ground and get another list going. Because we as the parents in our communities, and even some who don't even have children, but who are a part and have grown up in our communities, we understand our children don't learn the same. And that's something that everyone has to understand. Because you have this specific curriculum, does that mean that our children are going to pick up on it? Myself, I have a younger son who is special needs. So the school I wanted him to be able to get into, because of timing and or privilege, he was not awarded that. So now we have to bus to a school that's farther out, and they don't have many peer resources in that school. So me being who I am, I'm hands-on. I'm going in, I'm volunteering. What do we need to do? I noticed that when my son does this doesn't work for him. Maybe we need to rethink the curriculum for this specific child, and or see if we implement things that works for me and the other children can benefit from it. So it's very important that we do, reiterate to them what works for us, and or the things that we already have come up with, which are solutions that we know firsthand work for us, and let them know we don't have to go back to the drawing board. We understand you're new here, all respect given, but we have a list. Let's check these things off.
Hello. I would like to piggyback on what you said about being hands-on. I think that's the most important thing. And I think all the ladies here, that's what they do. That's what we do. And I feel like the community needs some more support with being hands-on. And like how this weekend there was a backpack giveaway. Those are opportunities that when the community comes together, we need to have some things happening where they can be hands-on, inviting it's the beginning of the school year, seeing if the district can possibly have extra hours maybe for teachers to attend that event and engage with the families on those type of days, and making those connections. But definitely being hands-on and participating. And if you can, I understand some families can't for various reasons. Send somebody else in there as your representative and tell the school, hey, I can't do it, but this grandparent, this niece, this cousin, because they can't deny it's the whole family. And that's what they say. So it's like, if you have someone else that you trust that you can send in to go in and engage and ask those questions and be hands-on, do that as well.
Tafar, I got a question for you, because I think you brought up a very powerful point. How do we make our teachers that work in the communities that serve our kids, or the teachers that go to the schools our kids go to, how do we get that community engagement with the schools? And this is a big thing that I bring up when we talk about planning for stuff for organizations as well. We don't really have things in play when it comes to how do we leverage that. Everybody want to say they community, but how do we get them to actually leverage that? Because I'm always saying that our community is 24 hours, right? You can't just show up at banker hours at, okay, school is from 8 o'clock to 4:30. And then the teacher's is like, I'm done, right? It's like, how do we convince them that, hey, there's an extra level of support that is needed for you all to engage with the community? And then when we're doing all of this funding sources, this is what I'm saying. How do we get our community organizations funded in a way that we do support those teachers outside, or those mentors, or whatever the young people need? But there has to be some kind of outside connectivity, not just, hey, y'all bringing y'all kids here to the school, but how does the school actually get involved with the community events to say, hey, I'm the principal, I'm the teacher over at this school. Come up to us if you have any questions outside of, because sometimes our families are working. Sometimes they're not available to get to all of the meetings. But I think the school district definitely needs to figure out a new way, some kind of budget in there to help support these folks to really engage with community, because I think that's a big part of it.
Yeah, I don't have all the answers, and some stuff just comes to the top of my head, and I just say it, and that's for us to like brainstorm and try to figure out. But I know, I'm an educator, but I grew up in Bayview. I grew up in San Francisco, so it's my community. So even though I'm overworked and tired, sometimes I hear a backpack giveaway, I'm still gonna go. But that's because it's my hood, it's my community. And I understand that not all, and some of the successful schools are schools where teachers have that connection. Some of those teachers or educators also live in San Francisco, also are from the community, and they know people and they engage. So it's just a part of them. But then I think that for other people who are like, I live in Oakland now. I grew up in Bayview, but I live in Oakland now, and I've been here for 13 years, but I never stopped working in Bayview. So, but it's getting harder because I have my own kids now and I have my own responsibilities. So I can identify with a person who just doesn't have it at the end of the day. But if there's incentives somehow that the city or the school district can come up with that will allow, that can support a teacher or an educator to come and engage within the community, I think that will be helpful to start it off. And then once they're there and they're seeing like, oh, it's kind of cool here in Bayview, everything's cool, the families are, great, I'm gonna keep coming. And then you bridge that bond, but it has to start somewhere. So
yeah, I definitely think that. Go ahead, Charisma.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that it's really important that professionals, working professionals, come to the schools and talk to children, tell them what it is that they do, and just inspire them at an early age, because reaching them at a young age, it just really has an impact, a lasting impact on them, that could really change their life. Because I went through an internship program when I was 16 at the USDA. I was a genetic engineering intern, and that internship that I did that one summer when I was 16 inspired me to go towards a career in science after I graduated college. So it's like things like that, programs like that, and just outreach, because like if we're just being resourceful and telling the students like, hey, we have this program, it's a paid internship. These are the benefits that you can get by going to this internship. This is how it can help you. So things like that. I feel like there needs to be more of that, so that a lot of the young people can try to figure out what it is that they want to do with their life as they're coming up. Because I feel like there's not a lot of guidance with that.
And definitely we understand people. We're not asking you guys to be the problem solvers, but I think today's conversation is kind of identifying the problem, but also trying to find out solutions and having these conversations. There's a lot of folks out there who are watching. There's a lot of people who tap in, our elected officials, and these are the conversations that we need to bring to our school district, to our PTA meetings. So I think today's conversation will bring some of that stuff that folks could jot down and take notes to help unify the community, but also work within the parameters of the schools and the district to make change happen. One of the other things I want to say, because I heard you said, I'm looking for Black folks to love Black folks everywhere. So it don't matter if you're in Oakland, San Francisco. I need parents in our community. As Black people, we got to get out of this. I'm from here, I'm from there. I got to say, I love Black people. I had this conversation yesterday with somebody. Look, wherever Black people is, that's where I'm at. I'm supporting Black folks. All right. Now, if I have funding and resources that's committed to one community, then I'm going to address that with that community. But when it comes to the overall, we're talking about Black children across not only the San Francisco Bay Area, but across the world, because this same behavior in our education system, the same disparities, the same lack of resources, the same issues impact our young people all across this country. We're trying to find a strategy in a way. Some folks got it right, some folks don't. But when I'm in these meetings, when I'm talking to these elected officials, when I'm having these conversations, when they say you have equity by having a seat at the table, these are the conversations that I'm having, because I'm saying, hey, we got to pay our young people. Look at what's going on, because I'm sick of these city folks. They come to all of these meetings, and I know Tony's in a lot of these meetings. A lot of you all are. They always come in here with this data, and they always want to paint this picture that Black people are at the bottom of every list. Right? They want to show us this. Yeah, Black folks are at the bottom of education. Black people are at the bottom of income. Black people are at the bottom of health and mental health and all. We always at the bottom. So I'm saying it takes money to fix these problems. So when are you guys going to invest in the problems? Because we know what the issues are. We know statistically where we line up. So how do we fix it? It's money. Like you said, incentive-based for the teachers that serve Black and brown communities. If we're the less disparate community, we have all the low issues in all of these areas. How do we financially invest in that? And if that's paying teachers incentives to do it, hey, if that's giving our families an incentive to get there, to be a part of it, then why we can't do it? But I know one thing, and I heard somebody say it about being innovative, okay? The innovation, especially in this city of San Francisco, we have the resources. We have to get out of our comfortable ways of doing business, and we have to be innovative and open to the ideals, okay, of what we need and really invest in them, because we have the answers, but it's a cost that go with it. So we have to figure out, what do we want to invest in? We want to invest in prisons, or do we want to invest in people getting the opportunity? Now, you heard Charisma say, getting started early, being in this type of mentor program. This is the trajectory that pushed her into the science researcher that she is today. Right? So when we talk about Black STEM, when we talk about Black mathematics, when we talk about Black engineering, we have to make the investment in the pathway for these young people to get there. And if that's STEM Frenzy, if that's the other organizations that are putting this thing in here, investing in what you all do, very powerful what you all do, bringing books and education to all of our events. Right now, maybe for the kids who suffer, we might need to upgrade into the audio books and the different things. How do we invest in you all to make sure that happens? So again, we living in the Bay Area where financials are tight, folks are struggling, but we got to find a creative way to get our parents more engaged and involved. And I'm gonna tell y'all, I was telling somebody yesterday, okay, and I know y'all do a great job overall, but we need folks who's gonna change these policies. We need parents and community leaders that's willing to go into the board, be a part of these votes, be a part of the process, so that we can make effective change. But I'm going to tell you right now, I told somebody yesterday, I don't want to bribe Black folks to get involved with food no more, okay? So I'm tired of these people. I always want to bring Black folks fried chicken and fish to every event to get them to show up. We got to stop that, all right? Because I'll take the few people. I'd rather take 5 people that are willing to fight through the whole process and stand for our community, and have 100 people that just showing up for some food. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. We know we have a food desert in our community. We understand folks are tight, and certain things we have to do this. But I'm talking about for policy change. I ain't talking about an APAC event. I'm not talking about back to school night. We shouldn't have food. I'm talking about the policy. Okay, I'm talking about at the board of education, when we need to be on these public calls, when we need to show up. I don't want to give people free food to come to that. I'm just saying, me. I don't want that type of center. I need committed family members and committed parents who are tired of the system that continue to fail our children and say, I don't care about food and I don't care about time. I'm here for my babies because I love my baby, and I want the other Black and brown babies that's around my babies to get what they need. Those are the people that I'm looking for, because I want to march in with them. Because when we do this other stuff, it's a lot of foolishness. But we have to take accountability and make the change. And I'm glad to be, not only connected to you all, because I love the work that you all do, and I really uplift and appreciate all you. And you all are the real true leaders when it comes to this education component, because you all lead by your demonstration on how you do everything. You all are phenomenal parents and community leaders. So you all set the bar and the tone. Miss Tony, I've watched her with her children and advocating for Black children and just continuing, right? And it's easy to just say I'm done. But these are the real families who continue to fight for the young people, and this is what we need. So just wanted to say that. Black people, let's love on Black people everywhere. Let's get out of this identifying. And I get it, but it's like, come on, y'all. We love Black people. I don't care what part of the realm you are with your Blackness or where you're located at. I love you. How can I help you? How can I tap in? But I know I wasn't coming for you too far. But I just want to put that out there because I get my Black people doing this all the time. I'm like, we got to stop this, territorial where we at. We all over the place and we need support.
Yeah, when I was saying that, I was only saying it in the aspect of a person who comes to work from a distance, like some of the principals and teachers come from other places, and then they have to go back home to their responsibility. Not necessarily about where they're coming from. So no, I was just using myself as an example.
I was just giving it because I know some people coming from the other side of that too, so I had to let them know because I be hearing that and I be like, "Come on, community, cut it out, Miss Pearl." You've been quiet over there. I know you ready to say something because you are a phenomenal mother.
Put me in the game.
I'm gonna put you in the game because I know you're a phenomenal mother and you're a community ambassador. So just always want to uplift you because you are a part of the community. You involved in all of the community events. Also, you have your children that you prepared them for great education. So definitely we want to hear from you as a parent, as a part of the organization, and as a community leader.
Absolutely. As a mother of 4, I mean, it can be challenging. Before I even start off with about myself, I want to say shout out to all these community organizations that have showed and improved since post-COVID and pre-COVID. I want to thank everybody for the backpack giveaways because they're helping preparing our babies for the first day of school, which is next week. Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. But so thank you to all of the programs and CBOs that have been instrumental in making sure that our babies get off on the right step. I want to also thank you, Henry, Ayo, and also Charisma for this platform because we are all APAC. You might see it's a whole, we have a whole horizon of people within the APAC, but we are all APAC. We are all African American Parent Advisory Committee. We all sit here when it comes to protecting and advocating for our children on a daily basis. My name is Pearl Brown. I am a mother of 4. I have 3 sons, 21, 18, 12, and I also have a little girl that's 1 year old. Ayo, you did share that your baby is special needs. I also had my 21-year-old. He's also special needs. He was on the Asperger spectrum, and that was an uphill challenge. I had to definitely climb a lot of mountains to get services for him, as well as my other children. I may not be liked in a district, but that's okay because, you know, with anybody that's moving mountains, you're not going to be liked in everywhere, in every community, and every, platform that you go on to. But one thing I can say about APEC is we are a united front of parents, men and women, and, they, he, she, everybody. And we are all here just to make sure that that our babies is being cared for, being listened to, being heard, making those teachers, those faculty members accountable. Don't get me wrong. I know some of our children are, they have some behavioral issues. I won't, say the word I really want to say. But for the most part, where does that stem from? Getting to the, the root of why those behavioral issues are happening. And then once we find out about those behavioral issues, how can we wrap services around that family and not just kind of slide stuff under the rug? But I won't hold up too much time. I'll pass it. Rionda, would you mind giving us a little bit of a history of APEC?
I sure will, my dear. And I think perfect timing because my little one is actually eating ice cream right now, so I can talk without him screaming in the background. Had to have my older son come bribe him. But I've been chomping at the bit actually for quite some time because APAC is so much more than bringing books and feeding people, John, as you say, because we do fight for policy change. You may not see us there, in particular me in the board meetings because they do run long. And now that I have a 2.5-year-old, I don't want him tearing up the board meeting, when they're trying to get down to business. But trust, I'm on the phone, and a lot of our other moms, who can't stay there for the extended hours, we're still there. We're on the phone, and we have made policy changes. So for example, when we noticed that there was a missing element in the EPC, which is the Educational Placement Center, because there was no Black or brown representation, we fought hard to get a Black representative, for lack of a better word, in the EPC, and that would lead to the hiring of Alicia. When we were hearing challenges with the math context, we rolled hard and we advocated for that. And also with Lowell. So we definitely go very, very hard when it comes to policy changes, and we're still fighting. And so now what we're doing is we're being more strategic, right? Because as Tafara and Tony had mentioned, they love to come to us and, well, what's APAC stance? Well, what does APAC want us to do? APAC wants you to follow the recommendations that we made in front of this board for the past 5 recommendations. Get back to us about what you did with that first before we tell you anything else. We need to see what you're doing, what we're telling you, before we keep spending all this time in these individual rooms, because we are invited to a lot of different groups now, as far as like the high school task force. That's something that I'm very passionate about. So I joined the high school task force, and we meet monthly. And what we're trying to do is figure out how to make changes within the high school system, right? Eventually, it will go to Lowell, but I don't want anybody to think that it's just about Lowell, because people have a heart attack and have been very strategic in trying to get the high school task force shut down and disrupted and dismantled, because they think we're trying to just come for Lowell. No, we understand that all the high schools are having struggles. That particular high school may be more highlighted because their challenges are more vocalized, but we want to affect policy from the top to the bottom to make sure that every high school within SFUSD, and eventually trickle down to the middle schools and the elementary schools, are all high quality schools. So what I can tell you is APAC does a lot of work, but John, we still got to feed the families. I know you don't like that part of it, but we do, right? Because we can't ask you to come out for 2-3 hours and you're hungry. You can't think. That's no different than the students in the classroom being expected to learn and they're hungry. It's not going to happen. We got to, what do you call it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You got to feed me first. Then everything else is going to fall in line. So it's not that I'm trying to bribe you with food, but I want to make sure that your needs are met in order so that we can get to the work of it, because it is at times very stressful and it can be overwhelming, and you might get downright angry. I don't want you stressed and angry on an empty stomach. I want your belly to be full so we can put some power and some passion behind those different emotions that you're having, instead of just wanting to flip over the table and tear stuff up, because that's their perception of Black people anyway. So we got to be more strategic, which APAC is doing, and Ali is also doing a tremendous job of getting in and interrupting the system strategically from the inside, which it may not always be seen publicly, but they are tearing down barriers and breaking down walls that have existed for years, right? And so we know that this educational system, and we have to be mindful that it's doing the job that it was always meant to do, right? So we just have to be strategic in interrupting that system and making it known that, yeah, that's how it was, but that's no longer how it's going to be. And until each and every baby is able to get a high quality education, we're going to be here in your face, making sure that you're making that change.
So I got it definitely. And again, I'll say it because I want to clear it up, because I don't want nobody coming out there, John, don't be telling APEC don't feed us. Okay. For the APEC meetings that y'all do for the parents, I definitely, as I'm talking about down there at the board. So I just want to make it clear. I'm talking about, I want the committed folks down there at the board, because that's what we need. But definitely all the work that you all do, tremendous, much respect to work. And yes, our community folks, when they're coming out at 6, 7, 8 o'clock, I appreciate and respect that. But I'm just talking about at the board, at the city, when we have these show ups, we got to show up because this is what we want to do. And, and then to Pearl's point, I seen it in the comments. I don't care about people who don't like me. I'm just telling you, I'm a dismantler. All right. And I want the more people to like me, because one thing about when people don't like you, they got to respect something. And they got to listen and not like you. So at least they listening. All right. So we got to continue to keep that up in our community. And again, it's not to be disrespectful, but it's to stand on our presence in our square about what we are trying to do for our community. I don't want people to like me. I didn't get in this business to be liked. I understand it's going to be haters. It's going to be all this, but I'm talking about when we dealing with these people, all right, these elected officials, these school board folks, these principals, we got to hold them accountable about our babies. And if they want to say you the parent or you the community leader that's always coming in here, holding them accountable, shouting, and they don't want to, they avoid you, that's okay. One thing about people that avoid people, they listen and paying attention because they don't want you to just walk up on them, and they don't want you to be, on that level with them. So they gonna listen. You don't have to respect me, but you're gonna listen to me, and we're gonna make sure our voice is heard. But one of the things that I'm advocating, I've talked to a couple of supervisors about, these public meetings. It's too long to be going over all of the agenda items and then asking community folks to hang in there. We got to find out how to set a separate day for the families to deal with these items and these issues so that they can get through them and just focus on that. And I get it. They say they busy and they got all of this stuff that they got to deal with. But when it comes to our children and when it comes to certain politics, we're going to have some kind of public day to deal with these hot topics that we could just have the community involved and not trying to push us out to deal with, because that's not real meeting. And they got to look into that. We got to find a way to because we can't have these board meetings going to 12 midnight and folks got to go to school. We got to figure out how to set something just for it so it doesn't have to be a late night thing. They can get it done early, all during the day. It should just be a day for these topics and these issues because folks are working at different spectrums, times of the day, and we should be able to have these items that people can address all day. We just go open this item up all day. You know what I'm saying? And have it that way so that everybody gets an opportunity to have their voices uplifted and heard. And I know that's a challenge to do, but we have to think about that, especially on these topics when it comes to elected officials, when it comes to these elected board members, and it comes to these policies that really impact the Black and brown community in this educational system. We have to have a new process. But go ahead, Tony. I see you want to jump in there.
Right, on a couple of things. But first, I want to mention how we've taken a page from both sides of the conversation. And what I mean by that is, with the help of DKI monies and different things, we have swag. So we give out our t-shirts, our hats to be more visible. So now people see us because we've been doing this work for decades. But now people see us. They also are wearing the t-shirts, the jackets, the hoodies. So I just want to give a plug for that. So I want to thank DKI for letting us be more visible. Another thing I want to say is, a lot of times when we go to schools, we go together, or we support parents who feel they're left out and don't have their own voice, because there's power in numbers. So when a parent show up by themselves, it's like, that's cute. A parent show up with their family, oh, it's a little scary. The parents show up with a coalition, then the school wants to listen. And I'm one of those people, when parents do feel like they want to flip a chair over, I'll tell them, you know what, maybe you shouldn't, but if you have to, you make sure you don't go to jail. Because sometimes you need to not really flip it over, but hit the table real hard. Because I've been doing this so long, some people can do it softly, and some people have to be a little loud. I've hit a table or two, especially when I didn't know about restorative practices. Now I know restorative practices, and I'm a little smoother with it. And, you get older, you get a little more metal, let the young people hit the table. But we just want to make sure our parents have tools to be able to navigate for themselves and others. Because, again, just doing it alone for just your child, that don't work. It never did work for our people. I'm not even just talking about the civil rights. I'm going to bring Harriet Tubman into this. She didn't just get herself free. She went back and kept bringing more people and more people and more people. So that's what we got to remember. And it's not a sprint. We need everybody. We need I'm navigating with one set of kids, then my youngest, and now with the grandchild. So that's another reason why I know the more things change, they stay the same. Some of the inequities in the school district. They hope some parent do their 12 years and it's done. No, I've done 12 years. So you can't tell me that the same thing happening back then isn't happening now. So just mainly we got to have those who want to be loud. Okay, look, we need you not to get in too much trouble. Stand in the back. And those who could speak the language of the board, okay, we're going to put you up front. It's just a whole lot of different strategies. And it's sad that we can't just get what we deserve, but that's okay. We're going to do it. And back to like the Ali partnership and APAC, and then even the NAACP, when we need to get things done, we have partnerships. We do not do this alone. So that's why I just mainly want to say it's a team sport, navigating the school district with our babies.
Yeah. Tony, I got to say something, Tony. You're going to have to give me the information to that restorative practice, because I'm beating on desk, Tony, and I'm yelling and screaming. I don't think I can change that. I go in these meetings, they go, turn John Henry mic off, turn his mic off. I'm screaming, okay? I don't have time to play with these people because they always want to play. And this is why I tell these folks, don't be coming in here with this performative stuff. Don't play with my people because we ain't stupid. Because I know they like to play us like we don't know what the hell we talking about. I'd be like, come on, man. Don't come here playing with my people like that. We know exactly what y'all doing. We know the games and the gimmicks. But I might need to take that class. I'm trying to practice some of my
that's
anger
what
management.
IO's there for, right? When you out there wilding out, they gonna listen to her. That's like Malcolm and MLK. Some people want to hear the message one way because they don't want to hear John Henry. So they're going to listen to somebody else on your team. Because I'm kind of the wild one. I don't even know some of this. I'm a Gemini. I don't even know what I'm saying. The Rihanna will come and sweep it up for me.
Yeah, we've actually had to have that. I say the same exact thing in the delivery being different, but it's received better just by the delivery itself. However, I was not always the calm one. My eldest son, who will be 16 at the end of the month, he was having some struggles with reading. He was actually in the Oakland school district at the time when he was going to elementary school. And we had to learn that he had a learning disability where it was he was dyslexic and reading was a trigger for him. So firstly, I was in an uproar because I'm like, something's not clicking with him. And I was up at the school, I was, volunteering, and I'm like, something's just not clicking. I had meetings personally with just the principal, had meetings with the school staff, even when they were having like tutoring sessions, I'm in there. So I took it upon myself and came up with a little committee, and we did a Fenton and Pinnell committee. We did a whole organization. We did a whole presentation. We had all the parents come out and everything. Like I said, it was my son's individual issue, but I made sure because there was so many kids, and this was second grade, that were falling behind, and we didn't understand why. It was lack of supplies. The books that they had for the kids at the time were just like, it wasn't even on their reading level. And actually getting in there and getting some professionals in there to show this is what your child's reading level is. Here is some books, and here is some also other tools that you can utilize to help them at home. It is definitely about a village. Sometimes we get parents that are like, from 8 to whatever time they're at school, they're your problem. You don't take on the responsibility when they come home. So then when your child is failing, you then go to the teacher and blame them because you are not reiterating everything that they're learning in school. Have those conversations with your child. How does this make you feel? Where do you feel like you're struggling? And or looking over their work where you as a parent can notice and identify, okay, he's writing backwards. And or, okay, he's still in fourth grade reading with his finger. Okay, how can we do this reading and comprehension? What can I do? And go out and contact the teachers. How can we as the parents help the teachers put their passion back into their work if we are accusing them or holding them solely accountable for our children's education? Like I said, I was a little disruptive because I was like, you guys aren't trying, because I'm up here, I'm doing the work with them. And when we're at home, I'm doing teach my baby how to read. I'm doing everything, hooked on phonics, and he's just not grasping it. What next level can we take it to? So that's when we formed the committee, and that's when we got more parents involved in actually taking the time to try and figure out their child's individual learning habits. And that way we can actually share those things where, oh, you know what? My son does that too. Maybe I'll utilize that tool. Maybe we can do this. I was a part of the Oakland School Boards Committee. Now my son, we're all in San Francisco. I'm a part of the African American Black Student Union. And my son's been on the honor roll since we got everything. He's been on the honor roll since he was in 5th grade. So we made sure, now he's going to the 10th grade. I made sure to be hands-on, because who am I to sit there and point the finger at what the teachers are not doing if I'm not implementing the work myself? And that is another thing that we have to hold our parents and our communities accountable for, because we have some who are lazy and lack the education themselves. So it is a challenge for them to actually sit down and do the work. That meme or that joke that's going around, if Timmy had 5 apples, you're banging on the tables to the wrong person. You're getting frustrated with your child instead of going down there and speaking up for them so they can have these solutions on how you can actually use the solution yourself back at home. And it's all about repetition. What you're learning at school, you should be actually enforcing that at home as well and helping your child, not hindering them.
So, Ayo, I think you made a great point. And I want to give credit to Dr. Mary Bacon, who's one of our consultants who works with APAC. And what she taught us was that importance of partnership from the very beginning. She helped us to create a like an introductory sheet, almost like a resume for your babies, right? You bring it to the teacher and you set the stage. You let them know your baby's strengths, some of their challenges, and that most importantly, you're there to create a partnership with them. You want to be there to help. My favorite thing to say was, I want you to tell me the good and the bad. Because what we're not going to do is have you call me and you read me a laundry list of everything that's gone wrong and tell me nothing good. If something is wrong, I want to know right away. If something is good, I want to know right away. And vice versa. You know, if I notice a struggle, I'm going to bring it to your attention. But most importantly, you know, you have to work together. Sorry, my little one is doing what little ones do. But you have to be willing to work together and to understand that it does take a partnership, right? Because just like you said, we can't expect our babies to get it in just 8 hours if they're struggling. And we have to notice what the struggles are, because a teacher who has a classroom full of students may not notice. And I want to play devil's advocate and just pretend that it may not be intentional. You know, sometimes it is, and we know that, but sometimes it may not be, because they are dealing with a lot. And with their pay issues, I know I would be struggling to come to work and I'm not getting paid. I'm here, but am I really here? Because I'm worried about everything else that's going on at home. So now I think more so than ever, it's even more important to make sure that that partnership is being built, and everything else that's being set up in the classroom is being reinforced at home.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. And I seen the comment about homeschooling. I was going to bring that to you and Tony them. There's a big push across America. I know they're doing it heavily in the Midwest. They're doing it in the East Coast. There's a lot of homeschooling going on. And I'm interested because I'm recruiting this lady right now to come on and do an educational presentation. She homeschooled all her kids. She teach homeschooling. There's a lot of successful things that come out of homeschooling that I'm seeing from some of these folks that's in this. They have a whole coalition of people that's doing this. And I want to hear you all perspective, because I know, you know, I only have one child, and it's been, you know, a long time since I had to be involved with the school district with her stuff. But now I got my grandbaby, so I'm always advocating a little differently. But, you know, is homeschool an option? You know, because we talk about the failures of the educational system. We talk about the racism systemically across when it comes to the educational stuff. Is homeschooling an answer? I mean, I hear about the charter schools. I hear about community schools. When do we have it? And then finally, y'all can answer it, whatever, however y'all want to answer. But I got to ask, because there's a problem with our school districts on how they assess our young people. You know, if school is started and we go 90 days to find out that our kid is failing, we're behind already. Do y'all think it need to be a more precise a way to really evaluate where our kids at? Because I heard somebody say by the time you put them on a some kind of program management, or I don't know if it's called a PIP or whatever it is, but this curve to follow our kids, because it's like by the time they identify this kid's behind, we already at the winter break, right? And then it's like, you know, after the winter break, we got to try to give the resources to help this young person out. And then by the time they get on, it's spring and the end of the year is here. And it's like, we're taking 3 months off again. Where are we at with that? How do y'all feel it? I mean, I know there was a big talks about Saturday school. I don't know where these Saturday schools are. I know it's a big push, but I think we need some Saturday schools. We need some learning that's just for our young people. I watch all of these YouTube videos across and all these things on social media about how Black teachers are bringing different things to help our kids learn, whether it's through music, arts, different things. You know, I just want to hear from you all, because I don't know. I'm not in the classroom every day, but how? Because we're asking, how do we help our kids learn? And I think Black kids learn different ways. And I think we need more Black educators, and we need more educated folks that are in this realm to get involved. And that's why I'm always yelling at these people who walk around talking about all their degrees and their PhDs and their sororities and all this, and they ain't doing a damn thing to help Black people out. See, those are the people that we need who have all this educational excellence to come back and help impact the people in our community.
I feel like when it comes to homeschooling, it's another option. For me, it wouldn't be something that I would recommend for myself, for the simple fact that you can push the school district to do exactly what you need, as well as homeschool, you know, in partnership with the school. Outside of the school, my son goes to tutoring 3 times a week for math and English. And then I also want to bring up the point that, you know, schools start back next Wednesday. And so this is your opportunity to start afresh, start anew, get to know APAC, come to some of the APAC meetings. If there is no APAC meeting, call Mauricia, call Tony, call myself, call anybody and try to get an APAC started in your school. Go to some of the parents meetings. Go to, you know, just try to get more involved. If not, go introduce yourself to the faculty. Walk the you know, the hallways. Get to know the teachers within the school. You know, get to know the faculty. Get to know the principal. Get to know the services within the school district. One thing I can say about APAC and what Mauricia and Latisse has done is everybody that sits on the APAC parent advisory, we're all plugged in somewhere when it comes to San Francisco Unified School District. I know Rianda is on the task force. Myself, I'm on the LCAP, which is the pretty much knowing where all the funding is going within the school district. And everybody plays a separate role in knowing what's going on in the umbrella of San Francisco Unified School District. But for the parent don't, you know, all I can say is don't be timid. Don't be intimidated by the San Francisco Unified School District. Find out all the services within San Francisco Unified School District and leverage those resources. You know, if you have a child with special needs, you have the parents with disability. They have a lot of different resources that Black folks are not tapping into. And they don't, let me hold my personal perspective, but they have a lot of resources within San Francisco Unified School District that you can push and make your voice heard and get the services that your child needs. So as far as when it comes to homeschooling, that's not something that I'm interested in, but I'm not saying it's not a good thing. For some people, it have definitely worked.
No, definitely. And I appreciate you, you know, naming it that way. You know, my thing is, hey, we can leverage the school district, but we see how it's failed our community and our young people. A lot of products of the San Francisco school district have failed, you know, our community. And that's what we're trying to change. When we talk about dismantling systems, we got to start dismantling the things that are not working. And we got to remove those who continue to cause harm to our community. And I will say that it's intentional and it's strategic. Because you look at what can be done to help the folks, the teachers in San Francisco, and I just don't see the commitment when it comes to our African-American children, our Latin kids, that investment. When we talk about the teachers and we talk about the housing, you know, this sister shouldn't have to go from Oakland to San Francisco to educate our babies. So there's a mind shift that needs to happen in this country when we talk about education, the investment in our young people, because right now what you're seeing across this country globally is other countries are selling because they made the investment, not in military and prisons, but into their school systems. And right now we're seeing the result of failed systems. Okay. When you don't have the investment in education, when you don't have the investment in mentors, when you don't have the investment in making sure that education is number one, the highest paid position should be our teachers. I mean, we gotta relook at this, you know, and look at what the investment is going to be. I mean, look at our communities. I keep telling people, you know, we don't even need to ask the parents. We just ask, look at the kids in our community. Look what they're faced with when we talk about education. I had a statistic. I was on a meeting last year at the end of the year, and they had so many 12th graders who graduate that wasn't even at the level of reading of 6th and 7th graders. This is no BS, community. This is real stuff. But this system will continue to push our community kids on to the next grade, to the next level, in order to write that book of the data that they need to say, hey, we did this. And we got to change that. and we have to continue to fight, and we cannot wait. If we know that there's a learning issue, if we know there's an issue that's impacting the community youth with their learning, we have to be the innovative ones and the advocates to put things in place. I don't know if we need more tutors. I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I can't say that I'm so into the day-to-day stuff, and I know you all are, but when it comes to mentorship and the investment of tutors and to you all and the folks that need the support, we need to invest more money into that. All right. There's a way we can incentivize some of that to make sure that our community folks get that. And our kids need it more now than ever. So I'm there with you, Pearl. And for the parents who can homeschool, and that's the solution, definitely we want to use all of our methods of making sure that our young people get the proper education and information that they need to be the successful beings that they are. And it's just going to take more investment and more committed folks of the community to love on our children. And it's like, when do we take accountability? And this is why I'm calling out these people. They get mad at me. I asked a couple sorority people yelling at me, "You always talking about our sororities. You always." I said, listen, if you ain't helping the people, I don't care. You know, I had this lady, she got mad at me because she said, I was in this call the other day. They said, call me by my name, Dr. Woods. I said, I ain't calling you Dr. Woods. I said, how many times you come in our community doing something for my people? You want to come here and tell me how I need to respect you and call you that? I only respect people that actually do work for my people. Now, when you get in here and do some work with my people, then I'm going to call you by the day. Other than that, you just a person walking around with your nose up in there talking about how great you is. See, when you're great, the kids feel it. The community feel it. See, when y'all come around, when APAC show up, it's a love. There's a humility. There's a compassion thing. Because I see how y'all love on our people. So people connect. So people always want to connect. Well, you can't correct the community until you connect with the community. So you want me to call you by your name, doctor, because you got a title and a degree, but you ain't doing a damn thing for my people. That's not respect to me. You get what I'm saying? I respect y'all. I call y'all the doctors. I call y'all the important titles that y'all are, because I know y'all in the trenches with the people making it happen. You know, those are the accolades. These people just come in here and want to prance around with their degrees and their sororities. I don't give a damn about those people. I'm going to just tell you right now. And all of them sororities, fraternities that want to come and say why I'm talking, I'm just going to say it. I love what y'all doing. I understand the whole movement. But if you is not giving back the impact to people of the community, I don't respect that. I don't even want to hear about it. So don't tell me about your degrees and your sorority and all that, because if you ain't impacting Black people, especially in San Francisco, because we talking about an APAC that's here in San Francisco that are walking and marching together to help our babies. And we got all these people walking around the city talking about they doctor degrees and all that, and our babies is suffering and they don't show up to none of the meetings and they tired and they quitting, and y'all out here kicking, and y'all still got to go home and cook dinner and deal with people like me sometimes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm on the fence, because for my older son during COVID, when we were homeschooling, he excelled. It was amazing for him. He had no distractions, and he was like top of his class, his participation, everything. He excelled. Now, for my younger son, who is on the spectrum, his distractions are here at home. He's got TV, he's got snacks, he's got his toys. So even though we were on Zoom with his teacher and, you know, his classroom, it was hard for him to get the information, or even for me to keep him focused at that time. So like my younger son, I saw it go across the screen. Miss say your name for me. I'm sorry. Ryanda. Did I say it right? Rianda, I'm sorry. An IEP is beneficial for him, because that's one way that I advocate for him. On paper, you have a structure for what he needs and the goals we need to obtain by the end of the school year. We're able to check off these goals throughout the school year and add and remove these goals for him. So with homeschooling for my older son, it was beneficial. I was really more scared for him to go back, and I'm like, oh Lord, he's gonna be distracted, he's gonna be following, you know. But he didn't do that. Everything that he obtained, everything that he gained during COVID and being homeschooled, I'm not the strict, if Timmy had 5 apples, Mom, but I was literally sitting on the side of him during class. So he was able to have that focus. So he had it in his mind, my mama sitting on the side of me, when he went back to school, and he's kept it on the straight and narrow since being back from COVID. My younger son, which is so amazing that I am a hands-on parent. I am going through those assessments. I am up at the school. He's had some wonderful, my younger son will be 6 in September, but he's had some wonderful teachers who advocate strongly and are there and are present and are working towards making sure that each and every child has with their IEP, they are obtaining these goals. So I have been very fortunate, even from pre-K to him now starting in kindergarten, to have had these teachers who were very hands-on, very focused on the learning and making sure that they also holding me accountable as his mom. Hey, I noticed this. Did you notice it? Okay, what should we do? I noticed, even with behaviors that he was, acting out or getting frustrated with certain things where his triggers we're learning those things. And I'm like, okay, let's try this. All right, back to the drawing board. You know what I mean? So those things, the homeschooling and IEP worked for me. I benefited from them as this parent who is hands-on, who is making sure that, hey, I'm in the classroom when I need to, and I do pop-ups. My high schooler, he's at Burton. Oh, he knows I do pop-up. They know my name. They're like, hey, Miss White, how you doing? I'm good. Where's he at? So making sure that when your child if your child is behind on the learning curve and they have to have an IEP, making sure that it is structured for your child's needs. I've had the experience where they tell me, we're going to do these goals. This is what we feel that he's lacking after this assessment. No, that doesn't work for me. These things need to be addressed. I feel if we start at here, you know what I mean? Learning how your child learns, making sure you're taking your time, being patient, and understanding that don't let them tell you how they're going to teach them. You let them know, hey, this is what works for my child. Can we implement these things? Okay. Is this something that can happen? Perfect. What do I need to do to make sure that this is repeated at home as well? So when it came to homeschooling, it worked for one, not so much as the other. But the IEP for my younger son has been a great tool to utilize for him to obtain goals and for him to start to get back up to where he should be.
Well, I'm going to say I was one of those students, okay? So don't let these people label your kids, because I got labeled ADD, ADHD. I had all of that stuff. And really, it was, I'm doing just fine. Maybe this is why I go around the clock. People like, how you keep going? I think I got ADHD. I don't know. They told me this when I was a kid. I don't know. But what I can say is, sometimes in our community, the stuff we deal with also is a reason why we display some of the educational behaviors and patterns too. Because I know when I was dealing with family members, being shot or going to jail, things happening, it played in me learning, it's a couple times to take a couple of weeks. Sometimes I'm like, we sometimes have 3-4 family members die. Right. And it's really like, how do we shift the educational model to the teachers who are coming into the classrooms with our babies and actually giving them an opportunity to decompress? Because sometimes in that classroom is the only chaos or removed from chaos some of our young people deal with, right? We got domestic violence happening in our homes. We got communities full of gun violence. We got substance abuse, homeless people. Some of our kids who living in the Tenderloin, stepping over people laying in the street, needles in their arm, right? So how do we take this kid in the classroom and then decompose all of this stuff to get them in a manner that be educated? And then sometimes when they not, because they just, dealing with anxiety and what they just saw, you see somebody shooting drugs on the community, you see a guy, nodding off, you see somebody in your community shooting all night. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm labeled ADHD. I really think I got ADHD or something. I got some DDs or something. I don't know. I got to figure it out. But I'm just saying, don't let them just say that, because I think sometimes we can do a little bit more with our evaluations. And that's all I'm saying, is for the parents to get a little bit more involved and reach out to you all who kind of have that experience about these IEPs and different things to really make sure, because sometimes kids are just going through stuff and they need that support. But the most famous lady of all is here. The lady, Miss, Miss Marisha. I mean, she's everywhere. I seen her yesterday by herself out there just holding it down. I love the unity in y'all community. But how you doing, Miss Marisha?
Hi, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Marisha Robinson. I'm an African American Parent Advisory Council Program Manager. I work on the African American Achievement and Leadership Initiative team out of the Superintendent's Office for San Francisco Unified School District. So, Ali is the team that I work on, and I'm the APAC Program Manager. Thank you for having these lovely ladies on here today and for this much needed conversation. And I wasn't all by myself yesterday. Tony came and helped out a little bit, and some other of our APAC families came out and through, but I was there for a little bit, just a little bit in the sun though. We had a tent this time.
You know, I'm just messing with Tony. You know, I know Tony was there. Tony be networking, okay? Tony be doing the thing.
And we appreciate that in her. And I just wanted to like loop in and close some of the openness of the conversation, especially around our students who are receiving special education services. I'm a mom of 5, y'all. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 22 on down to 6. I have one of them who does have an IEP as well, and that journey is for a whole nother conversation, a whole nother time. We're gonna have to do another both sides of the conversation on that, because you know I'm in the system, I work for the system, I'm an advocate and all of that, and the system still did what they wanted to do with me and my baby. So that's a whole nother conversation. But just saying that APAC, although we are this really strong group of parent leaders, our reach extends way past just this strong group of parent leaders. As the leaders have mentioned before, we are connecting and touching in places and spaces that sometimes you have to peel back onions and layers to get to and find out and know that that's somebody from APAC. And APAC was the person that helped put you onto that, or APAC helped navigate that space, or APAC broadened that space and opened it up so that you can be in there and be authentically a Black family or a Black mom or a Black dad. And so I just want to put that out there to the community as well. And then around special education, SFUSD has done a horrible, I can say we, because I work for them, we have done a horrible job when it comes to our Black students and special education, over identifying them in other health impairments, over identifying them as emotionally disturbed, something that follows you until the day you die. I cannot be a police officer. No, I cannot be a firefighter. We don't want to be a popo, but I can't be a firefighter if I got it emotionally disturbed on my record through my educational career. APAC has a direct seat in place at that table where we advocate and ensure all the money. The state fined SFUSD, gave them a bucket of change, a whole bunch of money, y'all, and was like, we want y'all to change what's happening in general education around over identifying Black students and for special education services, and get this, the kicker, suspending them while they're receiving those special education services. So that's what SFUSD has been identified as. APAC sits at that table and ensures that we are uplifting family voice, we are disrupting policies and holding the district accountable for making sure that that money is spent rightfully so, making sure it's changing adult behaviors, because those are the people who control the classrooms and not the kids, making sure that that those funds are being used right, and that they're not dismissing us, or they're not just putting a Band-Aid on the situation. And though it's a slow, long journey, y'all, I don't know nobody who's been able to really get in there and change the system, because if they could, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I just want to make sure that we all know that, like, as John mentioned, it's a community effort. Like, we can only do so much, and we can only be somewhere, and we are reaching out now. Community, latch on to us, help us out, push in where you can, push out where you can. For example, we have the kids coming back to school the first day of school. We stand outside of some of our schools and we cheer them on, clap them up, get out there, get into class, shake their hands, make sure they see a good, friendly, and warm face before they set foot in on that school grounds before school starts. We have that going on. APAC is also hosting our August 26th event called Black to School, along with the Dream Keepers Initiative, the Office of the Superintendent, and other community partners. Families of Black children, y'all come out to Park Lab, SF Park Lab Gardens, the food trucks over there in Mission Bay. Come get some free food on us. Yes, food, John, I'm feeding them. Be in community with us, but the best thing is hook up with resources throughout the community, and for SFUSD in particular. I'm talking about ins and outs. You having a problem with being assigned to school? Come on and visit us there on Saturday. You having a problem with not getting your child's IEP or a requested service that you need for your child? Come out and visit us on that day so that we can help you navigate that. of course, tons and tons of more things, but I had to get on here real quick and just show my face and show how proud I am of our family leaders and our leaders from APAC that are here talking, and just add my little 2 cents in where I can, and just know that we are not the only solution, but we know that it can be greater and better as long as we have the community and people like both sides of the conversation pouring into us to help uplift all of the things that we have done, all of the efforts we are trying to achieve, and move together as one single unit, because we can't do it by ourselves. Can't nobody do this work by themselves, so we all need a little bit of help.
Man,
That's
definitely.
all,
And Marisha, we're gonna definitely continue to do our part to help highlight some of that stuff. And I'll take responsibility and say I didn't always do the proper approach to help make sure that we utilize our platform to get those meetings out and things of that nature. And I know there was a disconnect. I think we figured out to get the newsletters and stuff so that we can help also push this out to the community. And we'll do our part here to uplift this year. The school means it just, I got some folks now to help support, make sure that it get out, because I got so much going on, and I know y'all tell me directly, and my team, I should be letting them know to help out and support. And again, it goes back to what I said. We have all these folks in our community that need to get involved. Okay, I get 2 hours of sleep sometimes. I don't complain about it. And these people walking around with their head up in there talking about their degrees and all what they do, and they ain't doing nothing for our people. We need that community support. We need the social workers. We need these resources to get to the people. And we need folks who are in the inside that understand where these resources are, how to navigate them. We need to get those folks to come on here to walk our people through. This is what this Educational Thursday is for. Come teach the community. If you are on an IEP, if you own some special services, here's the process. This is what we need in our community. We need more folks to come on here to show our community step by step. Here's the process. This is how you go through. And then we connect them with the resources of the other folks to help them walk through these processes, because you can't walk into these school districts and these classrooms and deal with these folks. It can be overwhelming. It can be overbearing. And you know how our folks is. They don't have patience as it is. So how do we make sure that these resources, these intersections connect in a way that's easy as possible without the most resistance in things. So, just wanted to put that out there.
I forgot to mention one more thing.
Look, I'm
just talking. It's not my show, y'all. But
it is your show. This is the Apex show. This is y'all show. Y'all talk about.
Well, I just wanted to highlight the team that I work on, the African American Achievement and Leadership Initiative within the district. I don't know if a lot of people know really how the work of serving Black students and ensuring successful high academic outcomes for them is done within the district. But we are a small but mighty team, and we have programs, things like our STEM. Y'all mentioned that earlier. That's our Black Star Rising program, right? We support babies in 8th grade all the way up through high school around STEM and getting the math classes that they want to be in, the math classes that they deserve to be in, and giving them Black educators who are teaching them that math as well, and getting them those credits and units for school. But not only that, any child can join those programs. They don't have to be at a certain academic level or any of that. They can join Black Star Rising. We also have our Master in Cultural Identity program. Those of you who are listening from the East Bay, you may be familiar with Kingmakers of Oakland. Ali went into a partnership. The African American Achievement and Leadership Initiative went into a partnership with the Kingmakers of Oakland. And now we have what's called our Master in Cultural Identity classes within San Francisco Unified School Districts, all about being young king. And we included our queens, but all about loving self, knowing self, understanding self. We are throughout, I believe right now, it might be 10 to 12 sites. We've got elementary, middle school, and high school. That this program goes through. It's taught by Black educators. We have a direct pipeline through Ali, where we're hiring and training and supporting Black educators to become certified teachers in San Francisco and nowhere else. But yes, we are. I just wanted to put that in there so the community understands that all of these things and pieces are moving, but we really need the community support. We need y'all at them board meetings when they be like, we only gonna give y'all pennies on a dollar to make things work and move. And Black folks, we make $1 out of 15 cents. Like, that's what we do, but it's not fair. Put your money where your mouth is, right? We need to make sure that these things are getting funded. We appreciate the support from Opportunities for All regarding Black Star Rising, ensuring that all of those students receive a $1,500 stipend for being in the program. So I just wanted to mention those two things as well. I think I'm done. That's it.
John, I want to jump in and have a both sides of the conversation moment.
Go ahead.
And it was about lazy parents. OMG, I just wasn't able to jump in. I'm a Gemini, so guess what, y'all? And I just turned 60 this year. Never have I ever seen a lazy parent. Ever. A lazy Black parent. Let me stand corrected. There may be some trauma. There may be some lack of knowledge. There may be some, you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 jobs to try to pay for this San Francisco rent. Never seen a lazy parent. So going back to the ideal of a village. Oh, let me say the sad part. Some of our babies don't have any parents. So that goes back to it takes all of us. Not necessarily the high school per se, but K through 8, let me see you doing something on my block, on the bus, on the train. I got something for you because you're still at my height. I parent on my block. I parent in the grocery store. So I'm just an OG and I still have that habit coming from down south. But yes, never have I seen a lazy Black parent.
Well, we need more of that. We need more of that, Tony. I was saying growing up in the Bayview, we had that. You couldn't be cutting up, walking from 3rd up the street and think that somebody is not going to pull your coattail and or call your parent on the phone and say, hey, I just saw your son, daughter, something doing this. So by the time you get home, you think you slick with it. They already know what's going on. We don't have that. It's lacking in our community, should I say, because it's the crabs in the barrel and the selfish mindset. Not so much of my generation, I'll be 40 this year and up. Some of the younger parents that I have come in contact with, just me specifically, going into the classrooms and things like that, I've come across some lazy parents where you at the club last night, but you sitting here yelling at your child's teacher because you don't know what's going on with your child, because you're lazy in the fact that you don't want to advocate. You're lazy in the fact that you're not asking the questions. You're lazy in the fact that you are not sitting down and doing the work with your child. So I have come across some lazy parents, me specifically. Now, my generation,
some self-medication going on in the club. Hey. I have rose-colored glasses when it comes to my people. That's it. I will never change. I'm being the old folks home saying the same thing I'm saying now. I don't see it.
But also, like you said, it's the lack of the village too. It's that lack of the village. If we had more of that mindset of, hey, I'm parenting the whole block. If we had more of that now, because a lot of those families has been uprooted out of our community, giving pennies on the dollar for their homes, so to go outwards, because in San Francisco, we don't have that. I grew up in the Bayview. I grew up on Harbor. I grew up on Oakdale, all within Hunters Point. So even each time I moved, there was still that concept of the village. That's the way that I parent. This is the way that I go up to those schools. This is the way that I come in contact with my children's friends. Hey, on one accord. And I contact with the parents of my children's friends. My son will say, Mom, I'm going to so-and-so's house. What's his first and last name? What's his parents' information? He looks at me so crazy, like, where are you talking about? I need to speak to his parents. He doesn't understand that, because we need to understand as parents, hey, I am entrusting you with my baby. So we are both accountable for our children. Having that village is something that helped me growing up, that I knew that I couldn't think that I was going to be slick. My parents were strict anyway. I couldn't think that I was being slick doing something down the street, or even cutting up, trying to change your clothes, kind of be on your way to school and put on a skirt instead of pants. Yeah, I couldn't do none of that. My parents would know automatically. So that concept of the village, holding our parents accountable, letting them know, hey, we see you. How can I help? What can I do? And not just telling them you're doing this, and that wrong. How can I help? Hey, this resource helped me. Maybe this might help you. Let me come pick the kids up. Let me give you a break. But that is also a concept of the village, and showing them, hey, I'm very transparent when it comes to my children and their learning disabilities and the work that we've had to do. I'm very transparent. I'm very open about it, because I know what worked for me and it may help somebody else. But also on the flip side, what works for me may not work for everyone else. But given that information, given those tools that I've utilized may help somebody. And being transparent in what my children struggle. My older son went through a horrible experience when he was 6, started to regress in school. So this is why I became more hands-on with the Fenton's and Pinnell committee and all those things, because that trauma triggered something in him where he started to regress. I didn't understand what was going on. And so I had to get more active with him myself, and also letting them know at the school, hey, these are the things that are going on. They started to have on-campus therapy. They started to have all these things for these babies. And this was in the Oakland School District. When we transferred to San Francisco, it was a different story. So I had to be that parent in their face, holding them accountable, letting them know he doesn't learn that way. He will not respond to force that way. He will shut down on you, and then it'll become physical. So these are the things that we have to teach them and show them, and then giving them what works for us. Maybe you can implement it. I'm going to come to the school. I'm going to sit in the class. I'm going to do all these things, and being transparent with the parents that you come across, because they sometimes think I'm the only one. Man, why is it my child? You're not the only one. You have a village. You have people that you can rely on. You have people that will sit there and stand up for you. What you guys are doing and advocating for every child, we started off as because of our children's individual needs, but being able to branch off and have those olive branches to leaf out to everyone else is an amazing thing. And I commend each and every one of you women. Sincerely, I commend each and every one of you women, because if I had more of these type of resources when my older son was going through, maybe we could have nipped it in the bud sooner. It all worked out in God's planning and all in his time. But now that I do have a 6-year-old with the learning disability, there's so many different resources, and I am so proud to be an African-American student's mother that's out here with women like you, making sure we're on the forefront and making sure that we are advocating for our children, and we are the voices for our children, and not just allowing them to tell us anything and give our children any kind of education.
And Marisha, you tell Mr. Robinson, don't be sneaking up behind the camera and not come and say hi to the people. I don't know.
Ray, they want you to come say, John said, come say hi. John been trying to get us, y'all. John been trying to get us on the.
Come on, what's up, brother? You just come on, looking over his shoulder. I said, you ain't gonna come say nothing to the people. Always proud of you, brother. Good to see you, brother.
Likewise.
Always good to see that, brother, man. You both always demonstrating what's possible. So I love you all for that. But I have to say something, Ayo, because I agree with Tony. And I'm glad Tony put it that way. And I have to agree with her. It's not a lazy parent, but it's a bunch of disengaged parents that I would say. And I agree with you. We shouldn't use the word lazy, because there's no lazy people. It's disengaged folks, it's misinformed folks, and there's folks who have other challenges that keep them from being engaged. And, you know, when I hear y'all talk about the village, okay, I hear this village concept all the time, but the village is hurting, y'all. So I'm trying to find out who the hell are we talking about when we talk about who's the village, because the village that I think that's supposed to be there, we're not there. We're not working together. We're not collaborating. We're not, you get what I'm saying? So where's this village at, or how do we build this village? How do we get more people engaged in the concept of our kids' education and our community needs? Because I hear the village. I know everybody's talking about the village approach, but I don't see people working with each other. I just don't. Everybody's worried about their kids. And I mean, not you all program. I'm just saying in the community.
So, John, I think we all are collectively the village, right? It's a like a universal concept, for lack of a better word, but it's each and one teach one, right? If I know that my sister is struggling and she can't be here, but her baby is having a challenge, I'm gonna go in the classroom and I'm gonna stand in the gap for my sister. And I'm not saying a biological sister, my sister just in general, that she is a Black woman who's in need of some assistance. And I see, you know, my niece or nephew, because I claim all the babies, they're all my babies, right? I'm not auntie, I'm gonna love on you anyway. You know, you hungry, I'm gonna feed you. You need some help with your schoolwork, or you just need some encouragement, right? Because some of our families do have a lot of traumas, and they do have their own issues either in their homes or with the school system, because that educational trauma is real, and that may create a barrier for them even feeling comfortable going to the school because of what they went through their school experience, right? So if we're there to stand in that gap to just say, okay, baby, look, I know you tearing up, I know you cutting up, we got that down pat, we could do that all day, but how about we do something a little different? If I could get you to go to class and to be good and to just sit in the class, we're going to work on that first. We're going to sit in the class and we're not going to get in trouble today. We're going to do it one day at a time. I'm going to have something for you, and it doesn't have to be something big, but you would be surprised how far it goes for that positive reinforcement. Instead of yelling at them and fussing at them and telling them everything that they did wrong, overemphasize the good, praise the good like crazy, every little thing that they do, and watch how that spark comes off. Because I had children come up to me and be like, I did it, I sat in the class all day, you proud of me? I'm like, yeah, high five, I told you, buddy, you could do it. You can't tell people you can't sit down. Yes, you can. I'm like, now this week I want you to sit down and I want you to do some of your work, okay? So it's just learning to do a narrative shift, I like to say, right? And it's to start small and do it incrementally. I can't expect you to sit down and do your work if you haven't even been in class. Let me just get you back in a class. Just small engagement at a time. Let me start helping you to do your work. If you're struggling, it's okay. You can let me know you're struggling, because the average student is not going to want to tell the teachers that they're struggling or that they don't know if they don't have that relationship with them, right? So that's where the village comes in. And the village is, like I said, universal. It's whoever, right? I will be clearly transparent. When I was struggling with my son because he was a teenager and he was going through stuff, I'm a woman. I don't know the young man struggles. I went to the brothers on the block. I'm like, look, I don't know what he's going through, but maybe y'all do, so y'all could talk to him. It was 10 o'clock at night. No lie. He had called himself, ran away. We wasn't from the city. So his idea of running away was go to the Muni platform. We found him, walking him home, and we had a rap session, about 4 or 5 brothers. And they was telling him, look, young man, your mama loves you. I wish I had a mama who was out here for me. I don't know none of these guys, but that's my village, right? So they're looking after him when they walking by and they're like, oh, brother, you going to school? Here, let me get you some money. Or they see my older son, oh, you working with your brother? Let me get you some money. So the village is so universal, right? It's whoever. If you see a need and you're willing to stand in and fill it, and I don't care what you do on the street, that's your business. But if you see my baby cutting up, you have my full permission to check him, because I know you checking them in love, right? So that's where we have to expand our horizon and stop being so afraid of our own community, because you would be surprised when you humble yourself and you let them know, brothers, I need some help. I'm a mama out here doing it on my own. I have mentors, but they're not really able to reach them. You'll be surprised how the brother on the street can reach them. And because they're out there, they see him anyway, right? So it's learning how to do things in a different way. And for me, when I talked about the IEP was important, because that is what allowed my baby to go to school out of state, and the district paid for it. So that was a huge win for us. Even though he had to go to Wyoming, it was completely different. Mo will tell you when he got there, he was like, yeah, I changed my mind. I didn't know it was going to be all white people. I think it's time for me to come back home. And I was almost ready. And I'm like, well, did I make a mistake? And Mo was like, you better stop. We just spent 2 years trying to get this boy this help. He going to be fine. And he was like, he had a chance to just be a kid. Like, he's jumping on a trampoline and he's going in the woods and exploring. And he graduated and went off to college, right? So we just have to be open. And that became my village. All white people, right? It looks different, right? A family in his 12th grade year, let them go live with him, because he was struggling at school he was with, because it was so restrictive and he didn't need those services anymore. And so she said, okay, cool, you come live with us. And so he, got to play sports. Everything that he couldn't do in the city, he was able to do there. And the town, I think, had maybe 500 people, like extremely small town, but he thrived and he did well. And right. And so that's something that we have to be willing to do too, is to look for different options. Because for me, homeschooling wouldn't have never worked, because he didn't want to listen to me hardly. And I'm going to be fighting with you. I'm like, no, this is, because I had to go to work at the same time. So while homeschooling might be an option for some, we always have to be open to the idea that it just may not work and look at other options. Because as long as you do have the IP to back you up and you do need that, you will be amazed at the resources that are available. Because not even just out of state placement, they can go to school in different cities. You know, if there's something that's happening like in the neighborhood or whatever that's causing them challenges. San Leandro partnerships with the district. I believe Vallejo partners with the district. Hayward partners with the district. So there's different places that our babies can go where they don't necessarily have to move out of state, but they can go to a different environment to be able to focus and get their work done. And it is very helpful and beneficial for our families. So just thinking of it in a different way, I think will be very helpful in noticing that the village is whatever we make it at this point. You know, if we see somebody struggling, it's time for us to just step up and say, hey, sis, hey, bruh, I know something is going on. You know, how can I help? I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to, you know, say what you're doing wrong, because that's not my place. I just want to help you so that we can make it better for the baby. And I think if we come from a place of love and from wanting to help, it's much easier received than telling them what they're not doing, or God forbid that they're lazy or whatever, because we don't know what the circumstance is. And to me, it doesn't even matter. I just want your baby to succeed, because all of our babies, you know, we got to love on all the babies because they all are all of ours. And I think when we look at each one as our babies and take that ownership, that helps the village concept too.
Wow, very powerful stuff. I'm glad you said it like that. And yeah, our community has to be open. Whatever works, right? We are here to make sure that they connected. And I like that. But I gotta go back to Marisha because I know she'll get out of here in a second. But we're getting close to it anyway. But because I want to talk about consistency, because you said something earlier, I had lost my thought and I had to come back to it. You know, about the first day of school and all the brothers, I know Shaman and different elected officials go to the schools, but I'm about consistency. I think it's very powerful that happens on the first day of school. And I really believe that really encourages and pumps up our young people. But how do we keep that consistent all during the year? Because a lot of times these brothers in the community, these folks, they come out for the first day of school and you don't see them to the end of the school year of graduation. And I'm guilty because I've been trying to do this and be there, but I got my own granddaughter that I got to go to school. So sometimes it's never in line. But how do we continue to encourage, the fathers, the community leaders to get involved? And I heard Rihanna said about, the males being a part of this. And this is why I'm saying the district, when we talk about how much we pay mentors, I've heard a lot of brothers complain and a lot of folks who want to give back. But when these brothers try to go do this work, right, they only want to pay these brothers $25 an hour. They only want to give them this. And this is why I'm saying we have to have a paradigm shift. We have to have to change the narrative. We got to change the way we do business, and we have to change the process. This city that we in, and I know there's folks from all over watching from different places, but in San Francisco, there's resources, right? And there's funding and there's opportunity that some cities don't get because of the nature of how we're designed and how we operate and move as a city and county. But we are willing to pay consultants all kind of money in this city. When we look at what we pay consultants, $300, $400, $500 an hour. But when it comes to the Black people, the brown people, the Latin people of this city, when it's time to offer up support and funding to do the work that we need to do, there's always an issue. And I'm really advocating to say, hey, if we could pay these folks who are not from our community, who come here and take all these millions of dollars from our community to tell us to implement how to do work that sometimes it doesn't pan out. But we have we have the people that are boots on the ground doing this work and actually have an impact and could have greater impact if they had the financial backing and capacity. How do we innovatively change these processes with these RFQs and these RFPs when we're looking at funding? Because I think the problem is we're not doing enough intentional planning when we're rolling out these RFPs and RFQs of what it really takes when we talk about the participation part and what we need to make sure that our families and our young people are connected, especially when mentorship, because right now our higher school, middle school, high school students last year had a horrible end with the amount of fights and different things that's taking place. And I know there's funding going out there for people to do it, but I think we could get more brothers involved if they had the funding support. And when I say we work with the highest risk kids, we work in the highest risk communities, the potential for loss of life, the potential of things that could go wrong being a mentor. How do we validate them and give them the equity and pay to do this? Because I'm saying, even if it's a couple of hours, but if we increased it to make it feasible, attainable for some of these folks to say, hey, we appreciate you giving up the time, but we also want to make sure that you're impacted financially because we need you. I think that's the greatest push for Black brothers. Not saying that the sisters don't, but we need more men involved. And sometimes to get the man involved, it's tied to financial. Because some of these brothers who do come home or been through some things, they get an opportunity. You get what I'm saying? To really have an impact on some young people. And if we don't get them, and if we don't make the investment, how do we sustain the very thing that Maurice was talking about, to have them consistently there, to have their presence felt, and to be able to salute and uplift the kids throughout the day and at the end of the day? Or maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly. I don't know. Okay, I'm just saying we need more of this consistently throughout the days, weeks, and years to continue to keep our young people encouraged. Because if education is the true thing that we want them to get, how do we as community, how do we as family and organizations continue to be behind the very system that's trying to impact our young people with that kind of love and consistency?
John, I want to jump in and I'm sorry, you talked to Marisha.
I'm gonna give it to you in a second, Tony. I'm gonna tell him. He asked me a question and then pontificated on the answer, so I forgot what the question was. But Tony, if you have an answer to that,
so the question was, how do we this first day of school, all these brothers are there encouraging the kids and we clapping them on. How do we keep this consistency, and how do we implement these type of things in our school where it happens weekly, monthly, throughout the year?
I think it's twofold. One, connecting the dots. Like, I don't think we're connecting the dots as a city as a whole. We are not really plugging into each other and figuring out where we are and what our spread and what our reach are and what all the available resources we have for one another. And it could be a myriad of things. It could be I don't want to tell you what's in my pocket because I don't want you counting it. Or it could really be, I'm so deep into the work, I can't see past what's already in front of me. So I think connecting all of those dots will help bring some consistency to it. I want to say, though, like, there are things and systems that exist that folks can plug into to make that consistency happen. But I also want to push back and be like, if I can't give my sisters a meal, why I got to give them $1? I don't know, but on both sides of the conversation, I'm just saying, if we're not gonna feed them, why we gotta pay them when it's a free mentorship program in the district that anybody can sign up for and they can be a part of it, and or you have folks inside the district who will help you create the relationships where you ain't got to go through their systems to be mentors and be at the school sites and help you find some rhyme and rhythm to support the students. So and not just maybe in the district, but the students across San Francisco. But I think really, though, for me, the most important thing is connecting the dots. It's so many times I get into spaces, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you did that. Or, oh, I didn't know you had, like, it happens like that. When we don't connect those dots, it's hard for the transference of information to come across to everybody to make it better for the whole. So connecting those dots is what I would say. Go ahead, Tony.
I'm going to receive that pushback. And I like that because you challenged me to think, because I'm talking about food. But this is why I say this. And this is why if fear, I get frustrated because I know there's other parts of this school district, and I'm just saying the Richmond district and other folks that I've talked to people, and they have mentors who are getting paid a reasonable amount of money to mentor young people. But when it comes to the Black people in our community, there's a problem with that funding. There's no access, or that's too much. Our work is devalued. That's all I'm saying. I just think, and I think women and men should be paid, but I just think there's ways we could do it. And I'm okay with the school district free program. But again, we have a system who is steady identifying the lack of progression of Black children, and they have resources. So why are we not investing in the resources? You say you're looking for free mentorship, but how many folks is actually mentoring? I'm just saying, let's really be real when you look at it, right? But if we pay these folks, we increase the mentorship and we reach the end goal of impacting our babies. So that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is there's certain parts of the city that they figure out whatever way in the paperwork, the funding, how to pay these people. But when it comes to the Black children and the Black mentors, there's always a problem. Well, that's too much money to pay somebody. Oh, we don't have the budget for it. And I think that's BS, because I heard somebody tell me, I think Director Davis said, I think it's 4,000 students in the U.S. in the school district that are African-American. It's a low number. I don't know what the total number is. I'm sorry, y'all, I don't have the exact number. But for 4,000 kids, 5,000 kids, let's just say 8,000 kids, could you imagine what $10 million, $5 million could do for 10,000 kids who are the highest impacted with the most disparities and issues? That type of investment of mentorship, incentives for parents to get involved in Saturday school. I mean, it's a lot you could do for 4,000 students. I'm just saying. Now, granted, there's people all across the city who need support, but again, all the data, all the statistics, everything that everybody's talking about is Black and brown people at the bottom of the list. So I think it's our job intentionally to figure out, how do we invest to fix this small population of young people in this school district? I think there's a way. I think the school district get a phenomenal amount of money. I get it. We got to pay salaries and staff. But when it comes to the community engagement part and uplifting the parents, the mentors, the organizations, there's more that we could do. I'm just going to say that. But Tony, go ahead. I'm sorry for cutting you off, Queen.
That's right. First of all, I showed my husband in the background. I like that you used the word intentional, because I definitely was going to say, and I'm throwing in Uncle Stank's word too, we have to do intentionally what makes an impact. So to me, I heard 2 or 3 different questions. I'm like Rihanna. You had a lot of questions, and I'm not Rihanna, Marisha, you had a lot of questions in there. But one of the things I want to tease out is to get more Black men involved. One thing is, you a Black man, you need to be telling us, but I'm going to tell you my opinion since Marisha was asked. I think Black men have to invite other Black men. The education of Black children has largely been by Black women, and we've done a phenomenal job, but we just need you all to invite each other in, those that are doing the work. And I'll say this is one of my pet peeves when I do volunteer. When those Black men come, have something specific for them to do that's going to cause the impact. Don't have them just sitting there looking at a PowerPoint. If you want them to come and do 3-on-3 basketball, if you want them to come and do STEM projects, if you want them to come and do financial literacy, find out who's doing it, ask them, and I'm telling you, the brothers will come. But don't just say, oh, come volunteer. No. Give me my job description, and I'm there. So that's one way I think we can get a larger impact of getting brothers in. Or, let's cheat. Let's have the barbers come out there and have some haircuts and have the brothers show up. But you know what men like to do. Go on a fishing trip. I don't know. I'm not a man. So that is for you to answer and come back and tell us, and for us to send our husbands to you. So you get it together, John.
I'm going to give you the job description right now, okay? The first thing we need, one, is we just need brothers present. That's the first thing. No, hold on. We need brothers around. First, these young men need to see Black men around. And the Black men that we bring around, they got to first learn how to function with each other, because we need our young people to know how to communicate and how to deal with each other. So we need other men to show young men how men interact and how we deal with each other. Secondly, we need conflict management. We need brothers to teach other brothers how to be emotionally in control, emotionally safe. And we got to open up the space for them to talk so we can figure out what the problem is. Maybe it's daddy not home. Maybe you don't feel love. There's not attention. I don't know. But that's what we have to do. I agree with you. Don't come in there with nothing. But I'm tired of sports being the only way to connect with young people. I'm tired of that myth and that theory that only time Black kids, young men engage through sports. I think we got to start having real conversations with our young people in the community and start the healing. Because if we keep pushing mental health, but nobody's doing it, the start of mental health is communication. We need men to be able to first teach other young men how men act, how we engage, and how do we have conversations. And when we upset, how do we deal with our emotions when we're upset? How do we protect and provide them with the choices that they need to do when we're not around? Because everybody's walking around with kids. Everybody's talking about their mentoring. But the kids, when they're not in these settings, they're making poor choices. So I need men that's going to develop young brothers how to make choices. That's what I need them to do.
That's the one personal question. So what I'm saying is, yes, you have those answers. But I'm also saying they have some brothers up out there that's already here. They already ready. They cherry picked for and waiting for you to go get them. So I'm not saying don't use the grassroots. I'm very grassroots. I work hard to be grassroots. So I'm saying though, there's people out there that have time on their hand and they ready to do it. Bring them in too. Invite them in. And can I circle back to homeschooling? Homeschooling, big fan. I think it's harder than it is, and I'm not going to use the time element right now. That's a whole nother issue. Well, I'll put that out. My retirement looks like shit. Why? Because I prioritize my children than working. I had a job where I could leave at any moment to go to my kids, or I just didn't have to work there no more. 2, I've always had a village. 3, when I got sick of getting them calls because my kids didn't feel like being either mistreated or they wanted to fight, because you fight, you get to come home. Home was more fun. And let me add this. I'm able to teach almost everything A through G except for the languages. So that's my privilege. But I would keep my kids home 6 months up to a year because I'm sick of getting calls from school because they're acting up for whatever reason. So if you hook up, and I think Tafara, did y'all do some homeschooling? Y'all just did some. She's done it too. It's easier than it is when that's your priority. So know the standards. California has standards. It's a cookie cutter of what your babies need to be college and career ready. So we can't be afraid and lack confidence or whatever it is we doing. Being lazy, I don't know what we doing. we can't. We got to just realize we can do this. There was a time we had to do it. So we got to go, you said COFA, and go back and do what we used to do. I'll say this all the time. I was born in the Jim Crow South. Stuff was separate and unequal. My mother was born in the Jim Crow South. My mother's one of the smartest people I know. All her teachers were Black. So we got to quit being afraid or thinking we can't do it. Yes, I take money from my retirement fund because, like I said, I prioritize my children over money. And that was just me.
Now, Tony, I got to ask you this because I think, this is what I'm talking about where they started earlier when Tafar and them talking about, APAC putting these things on the books for them to do, and it's not happening. I think you just brought a perfect point because I was hoping during the pandemic that the school district would leverage the Zoom schooling. Because I kept telling people it's not for everybody, but I think there's a place for it. You heard Io. Some folks, some kids were able to utilize that being on Zoom to elevate their education, right? I thought definitely, I heard somebody say about the amount of suspensions and expulsions in the city against Black kids. Maybe when these folks, I was thinking now kids get suspended, they can still be a part of the class by being on Zoom. You get what I'm saying? So I think technology is definitely going to play a role in this, how we moving forward. But I really didn't see the school district really implement any of those policies. I didn't see it. And I'm not saying they there. That's why I'm asking y'all, because I think Zoom school was definitely a way to leverage continued education for kids who may need to be home or going through something, maybe suspended, where they still are connected in the school, getting the knowledge and different things of that nature. I mean, is that something that we could is that something that's on the table? Are they still utilizing it or what? Because I'm not connected every day, so I don't know. And I'm sorry, Tafar, because I know you wanted to say something. I didn't let you go, but go ahead, somebody.
With homeschooling, as far as the district and Zoom school, I mean, I don't think they're doing it like that anymore, but I do think maybe it might be utilized by some classrooms, but not as a distance learning tool. When it comes to homeschooling, and I didn't really speak about it earlier because it's really complicated. I'm a homeschooling fan, but it takes a lot. Like Tony said, her retirement, you have to make that investment. You have to make that sacrifice. And we did it. My husband, he homeschooled our kids for like 2 years before the pandemic and then through the pandemic. And they're doing well. And I think that, because you're able to put in to your kids what you know, but we're both educators. We've been, so we know, I wouldn't necessarily say a person who is not connected to education could just automatically do that without a support system. But a lot of these homeschools of other communities homeschooling families from other communities, they actually have like groups and satellites. So that's what within the Black community we have to build. We have to build groups in the community where we can do homeschooling successfully. Because maybe it might not be the parent themselves homeschooling their child, but that parent could be sending them to another homeschooling family, and they're them getting it there. And that family also needs to be supported. You take a financial hit because you're the full-time teacher now. So even if I decide to be like, okay, I'm gonna homeschool my kids, I don't got my health benefits, I don't got my retirement, I don't even got money to put food on the table, right? Unless I do assistance or whatever the case may be, or get support. But if we as a community say this is what we're going to do and we're supporting each other, people are bringing me food, cooking for me, or whatever the case may be. So we have to be innovative in those type of ways to make homeschooling successful. And then as far as we can't be the only people that had, when you had Christmas break, you better do a book report, right? So being innovative in those type of ways where we're doing stuff at home and within the community and with our nieces and nephews, or however extended community, to support kids' education outside the school district. Because we as Black people have never relied only on the school district until the crack era. Crack era is the introduction of you rely only on the school district. We sent our kids to school knowing how to tie their shoes, blow their own nose, spell their name, and we might have made a song in order for them to learn how to spell their name. They knew everybody's important phone number, all this before getting into kindergarten, and they knew the ABCs. They're not learning for the first time, especially if they had older siblings. They might have had even more knowledge. But the crack era situation, and like Tony said earlier, some of the families, some of the children don't have parents, right? But we never, as a community, till crack era or whatever, and now opioid era, where now even our extended family is not pitching in. We always pitched in. You might not have a mom or dad, but you had an auntie, grandma. So we did that, the village. So right now we just have to restore the village, keep having these both sides of the conversation. You guys are doing a great job with this because you're putting it on the table and we're having to talk about it. And now we have to keep talking about it. And you do it every Sunday. And Marisha and APAC, they're doing this. They pulled me in, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't working. I didn't have time before to be a participant of APAC, but they pulled me in, and so now I'm learning more about the APAC. And so it's about pulling the families in. Like the sister said, hey, she see the parents that's yelling at the kids, at the teachers, but it's like they didn't have the tools. APAC is the place where you develop those tools. They supply those tools. They give the support. So between both sides of the conversation, APAC and whatever other organizations we have, we got to keep having these conversations and keep coming to the table and keep doing the work and build. And earlier you said something about how can we shift the educational model? That is what needs to happen. We're trying to teach our kids in a model that doesn't necessarily work for them. Right. And so we have to shift it, but we have to bring it to the table and either implement it ourselves or ask whatever institutions our kids are in to implement it. But in reality, we should be implementing it ourselves, whether we're in the district doing it or whether we're doing it after the kids leave school and we're doing it after school. Other communities, their kids go to Saturday school. It's automatic. They're learning their language on Saturday. They're learning after school. So we just have to develop those systems and implement them, whether the district is doing it or not.
Man, very powerful stuff. And I'm glad you said it like that. And again, I mean, like you said, how do we intentionally change it? We just have to do it. But it's a lot. It's deep. It's heavy. I was going to say something. I just dropped it because you hit on so many powerful points. But I did an interview with Virginia Marshall, and I know a lot of y'all know her. And I asked her a question, and she told me, John Henry, what we need to take back and have all Black schools. So I had to ask y'all that because she's an elder. I respect my elders in the community. She said, and I heard you mention it. And well, now my thought came back. I know what I was going to say. So even with the homeschooling, right, the district give money for every kid that comes to school, right? So I'm saying even if we made homeschooling, how could they implement that pay to folks who are homeschooling? You get what I'm saying? This is when we talk about innovative. Okay, we pay a teacher to come here and teach a salary, right? So if a parent that still live in a district, right? Because you got to live in a district to go to school, the district funding, that money should go to the homeschoolers. All right. Instead of you losing your salary, you have to use your retirement. Hey, this person has chose to do homeschooling. So we would pay them the salary of the teacher that's teaching their kids. And we help guide them through the curriculum. But I agree with you. I'm a dismantler. And I keep telling everybody, The systemic racism that's embedded in this country, we have to dismantle all of it, from the Constitution to the school district. We have to take everything that they put on Black folks in our community and our brown folks and say, we're going to recreate the system, and it's going to be created by us. And who is us? Y'all said it today, the village, the community organizations that come together. We have to make this policy. But before we go, because I got to give everybody a parting word before they get out of here, I want to ask y'all that, because Virginia Marshall said, John Henry, we need all Black schools and Black teachers for our young people. So I'm going to ask y'all that question on y'all checkout, because I want to give everybody an opportunity before they leave to give some words to the community, encouragement today. But in your words of the day, answer that question for me. Is it a yes? Is it a no? Do you think that's what we need? Because I listen to Virginia Marsh. She's a very wise lady. I always have my own feeling about some things, because I'm like, Black kids excel when they have Black teachers, especially male teachers. So I have to agree with her on a lot of the stuff that she was talking to me about. I want to ask you all, but before we get to that, I'm going to move it around. I'm going to start with you, Rihanna, and then we'll move it around. Give some parting words to the community. Give some words of encouragement to our disconnected families. We're not going to call them lazy, but the disconnected ones. We'll give them some encouragement. School is starting, and we're going to do our part to continue to work with you all, help get y'all information out, and make sure the community folks know the meetings and where to be present. But with that being said, give some parting words, and then just let me know that we need all Black teachers in our schools with our kids.
So definitely think we need Black teachers in our schools, because there's a percentage, and forgive me because I'm kind of tired. I don't remember what it is right now, but I know if a Black student has at least one Black teacher by a certain age, they're going to go off to college, right, and pursue higher education. It just happens. It's a reality. It's important, right? Because you need somebody who's going to love on you and be intentional about you. There's something in that connection with a Black teacher and a Black student to where I may see you cutting up, and I'm going to recognize it as you just cutting up. I'm not going to throw you out of the classroom. I'm not going to put you on suspension. I'm not going to say you're ADD or ADHD. You're just cutting up. You might just be having a day, and it's okay. People have a day, right? So the students to have somebody who'll have that personal connection with them and build that relationship and a bond with them, and to see themselves, right? I think everybody thrives in an environment where I can see myself. And so for my parting words for the families is to just be encouraged, right? Even when you have a toddler who's cutting up and is tired that you've been on a Zoom call for 2 hours, he like, look, I'm over it, okay? Stay encouraged, stay present, stay vigilant, build those relationships, encourage our babies, because we don't know exactly what they go through day in and day out, but we need to keep them encouraged, build that relationship even with our babies, right? So they know that they can come to us and they can talk to us. And most importantly, if you get a call from a student that your baby is acting up, don't be so quick to discipline. Talk to your baby first and see what happened. Because the schools quickly learn, I'm not that mama that you're going to call me because you think you're going to get my baby in trouble. In fact, I was the opposite. And my kids was like, oh, you want me to call my mama? Okay, cool. I got her on speed dial. Mama, she won't talk to you, because they already knew. I'm not about to jump on my baby's back without hearing what happened first. I've never been that mom. So I think it's important to talk to your babies, talk to the teachers, build the relationships. Be as active as you can. And if you can't, then get you a village, right? Get somebody who can go in and stand in the gap for you. Because as long as the schools see you and they know they're active, your babies are going to be treated a lot differently. And that's the truth. So just be there, be present. And if you can't, get somebody, get you a village, get you an APAC member. Call us. We'll go out. I'm going to have my toddler with me because I don't go nowhere without my baby. But hey, we gonna show up. I'll bring you snacks. It's gonna be great. But that's my advice for 2020 or 2023, 2024. Be present and build relationships.
Wow, very powerful said and well put. There you have it, community. You're hearing from the best. Connect before you correct. Don't be quick to discipline and yelling and screaming. Take it down a notch. Have a conversation with the young people. They need us to support them. Find out what's going on. All right, Miss Pearl. Come on and holler at the people, Miss Pearl.
I want to say thank you, John. Thank you, AO and Charisma, for having us today. We had an extremely awesome time. But one thing I want to leave with the parents and as well as the important people in important places, these are our schools. Question, ask questions. Don't feel intimidated. You have the start of a new year to go in there and kick ass. Ask a lot of questions. And then also, I'm gonna get real close to all the people that know people that's in the state, local, county. We have programs right here in the heart of San Francisco that are doing the work, that are on the ground, doing the footwork for a lot of these programs and a lot of these families. Tell somebody to tell somebody and share with your whole Verizon to put funding into programs that are actually doing impactful work. Stop being so tight. People that are really doing, they deserve to be funded. We deserve to be funded. Programs like Both Sides of the Conversation, APAC, and the list goes on and on. Fund these programs. Thank you, John. Appreciate you.
Thank you for being the mother you are, the community leader you are, the great wife that you are. We appreciate it. I'm always stealing her husband for time, so she always fighting with me. Jair, you can't leave my husband. But we appreciate you all, and just great to watch you all evolve and thrive as a family, as community leaders involved in the community, and we thank you. Miss Tony, it's just unattested from Miss Tony. Tony, come holler at the people.
Hey, people, and thank you, Pro, for teaching me manners. Thank you, both sides of the conversation staff, for having us. Really appreciated spending time with you all. Give me some prayers. I'm traveling to take my baby back to Louisiana tomorrow, so I need some extra wingspan. So the question was, because there was a different answer given.
The question was, Virginia Marshall said we need all black schools and all black teachers.
That would be awesome, especially because there's not one way to be black. Because I've had some beef with black teachers, y'all. I found ways like, whoa. Just because you're black don't mean you best for my child. But with those rose-colored glasses, I still appreciated that you was black. And again, as I got older, because first I was a young whippersnapper parent in my 20s, so I was a whole different grandparent now in the 60s. So I didn't appreciate the wisdom of being mean to my baby and you black. Now that I get it, it's like you still not going to do it. You still got to build a connect before you correct. Then you can tell my baby anything. Day one, don't say nothing wrong to my baby. So yes, we need all black schools with all black teachers. And I'm going to just have to say, especially in San Francisco, we might let an ally or two in because they might know where to get us some money. I said it, And the thought I also want to leave with is that APAC does have meetings every month during the school year, our activities. And please come out and share your wisdom because, again, the part of the village is getting wisdom from other people. They have some parents out there that know what I don't know. I know what they don't know. Together, we're more powerful. So please come out and join us. We rotate our meetings. We have a home base at Leola Havard on Newcomb in Oakdale. So just come and learn some tools to navigate, get to meet people. Because back to what I think Marisha said it, we have been invited to some of the tables where other Black organizations haven't been, and we've been there for many years. We built relationship. We've outlasted, 3 or 4 superintendents, and we still strong. So come and help us stay strong. So again, come, share your tools, learn some tools, support a Black teacher. I was in the store the other day. Teachers do not get paid what they're worth. So if we have some extra money, like Rihanna said, she'll give other people money. Let's give some teachers some money or adopt a class. So marching orders, adopt a class, a Black teacher, help them out, and also come to APAC meetings. Thank you.
Yeah, I thank you, Tony. And definitely we just got to advocate so organizations like you all or different nonprofits can support that other additional funding to these teachers and these folks. I just think it's important. I agree with you. We got to figure out a way to offset some of this financial disparity when it comes to our teachers, and maybe we could do it through the nonprofit sector. But we got to find a way, especially here in San Francisco where the cost of living is out of this roof. How do we move this funding to help these teachers so that they can be present with our babies. And again, yes, the APAC meetings every month. Please, community, show up. They will have food, okay? Y'all can have food out there. But it's always great.
And babysitting.
And babysitting, yeah. I'm going to just say, because I went to the ones last year. I went to a couple of them, I believe. And again, you guys do a phenomenal job of connecting with the community organizations, the school district, and the teachers, bringing them forward and making sure that our families are impacted with knowledge and information. So I just want to take my hat off to you all. Y'all do a phenomenal job of bringing Black parents together monthly, and it's needed in our community. So thank you. Miss Marisha, it's time for you to give your parting words, lady, and tell me if these Black schools needed. Do we need all Black teachers?
I don't know. I think we do. I grew up up the freeway in East Palo Alto, and we had a Black school called Shule Mandela, and it was the bees.
That was some good information, too powerful to hold.
You see how the enemy be working? Just took her out. Just took her out right in the middle of it. See, y'all don't even think I be playing. The enemy, he be working, y'all. I'm trying to tell y'all, but we're trying to get her up here before the last person. Mr. Farr, go ahead and give some parting words to the community before we go. And do you think we need all Black schools with Black teachers?
Thank you, Pearl, for reminding me to have manners as well. Thank you, both sides of the conversation, and APAC as well for welcoming me in and supporting me as a parent. It won't hurt. It's never hurted us to have all Black teachers. We can learn from other people too, but it's always benefited us to have Black schools and to have Black teachers. But I will say currently, since right now we don't have them, definitely get what you can get from whatever district you're in. Go in there, ask questions, get whatever service you can get, and then continue to work towards having institutions that our students can develop from, whether they're after school programs, whether they're going to be on Saturdays, or whether they're going to be organizations or institutions that come in and support our babies while they are in schools. So thank you very much.
No, thank you for being here, and thank you for, taking a shot at doing the homeschooling and being a part of the district and just helping out. Very important, and I just appreciate all of the work that you are doing with the community and joining APAC. We need more parents. Parents, get connected, get you a support system. Make sure you get connected with APAC. Get connected with the community folk that are doing this work. And here's Marisha. Here she go. She's back. Come on, give us your speech.
Yeah, my laptop died. I'm sorry. I think Black spaces, affinity spaces, is important for everybody everywhere. And I think a Black school gives our kids the solid footing that they would need to navigate the rest of the world and the rest of the systems. It's something about being in an all Black space or with having a Black educator when you're little that just kind of grounds you in what you're doing, or having that village around you. But I'm also a firm believer in you got to do what works for your kids. My oldest set of kids, they like once removed from the hood. These younger, them little twos I got, they like twice removed from the hood. So that diversity that they see in their neighborhood and their other experiences, they thrive kind of off of that same type of diversity within their education as well. But don't get me wrong, though, they also need to see Black educators and role models, and just Black folks doing things that everybody else does. And so we try our best to make sure they're encompassed with that. But I do believe wholeheartedly in Black spaces for Black folks, and that includes Black education for Black students. That's my 2 cents on it. And y'all, don't forget community. Please come out and support us, or not support us, but come out and just be in community with us on August 26th at Park Lab over there in Mission Bay, with the food trucks, some direct resources to the school district as well, community resources. We'll have some fun and games out there. We really want to see y'all, even if it's only for a second or a minute. Just slide through, say hi, wave hi. You might win a raffle or something, a little bit of change in your pocket. But we encourage y'all all to come out and see us. Thank you for taking me back in.
And Marisha, make sure you send the flyer over to us and information so we can help y'all get it out. Again, community, if y'all have events, y'all want us to get out to the community, send them over to our events at bsotc.org so that we can help promote and get people to show up to your event. And then lastly, I'm hoping, and I'm speaking this in the fruition, that you guys are going to get just abundantly funding to take some of these kids who are struggling out of this city. All right. I talk to a lot of kids, and I know in this city there's a lot of programming for kids who are on the honor roll or going to college and things of that nature. And they get an opportunity to go on these college tours. And I want to say, I'm a true believer, and people push back on me, but I think our young people will benefit leaving this city, seeing, getting exposure to other cities and states. And I would like to see a little mini college tour and just some entrepreneurship opportunities to show Black kids who are on the edge, who are maybe struggling. Maybe they're not the honor roll kid, but they're right there at the, that barrier of not being well and being well, that we also give them an opportunity. And I'm just hoping APAC could do that. And I hope that you guys get the funding and all of the foundations and folks who support education. We have some young people who are right there at that border that can utilize that type of support to encourage them, get them out of the city. Because it's a tragedy when you hear young people who have never left San Francisco, never explored out of their city, and never seen Black kids in college. And I think that's why the historic Black college tours are so empowering, because they get to see people young who look like them. Like, wow, they're in class. We don't get that here in California. So I think the more we can expose young people who, especially on the edge, the high risk, to give them an opportunity to see young people who look like them in these colleges and these entrepreneur spaces, where they like, wow, I could do this. I just believe that's something. So I hope you all continue to add that to your program. How can APAC be the new or one of the folks who take those kids on the edge? I know we got a lot of folks who are doing it, but what about the kids who are right there on the edge, maybe one foot into the street, foot into the classroom, trying to figure it out? If we could give them that exposure and that type of support, I think it'd be tremendous for our community. So again, thank you, Marisha, for your advocacy, and all the work that you do. You are a powerful voice for our Black families and community. You always in spaces speaking of all you all. But again, we just appreciate you. We honor you, and we want to thank you again and the entire APAC team for all you do. And we'll continue to do our part to make sure that you guys' information events are getting out to the community. And please, community, make sure you do your part, okay? Don't be walking around with your degrees and your sororities and fraternities talking about how great you are. Get involved with APAC. Get involved in the community. Go into the school. Brothers, come on, brothers. Let's step up. Let's go in there and talk to our young people. There's a lot of fights going on, a lot of gang stuff. We need some men, some real men who want to step up and talk to our young brothers about conflict, talk to them about the things that we need to do as young men so that we can put a value on life, so that we're not using another young person to gun violence because they had a disagreement. We got to change that. It starts with us. Let's take the leadership approach. Let's work in solidarity with our APAC family and organization to make this difference in this narrative shift in our community. With that being said, Sister Ayo, I want you to give your parting words today before we get out of here. I know it's late, but this has been a great conversation. I got a little bit more fuel in me today. I got to get more involved. I got to call the brothers. Brothers, we got to show up. But Ayo, go ahead and talk to the people.
Number one, thanks for holding him accountable, Miss Tony. I love the pushback. Thank all of you ladies, sincerely. I've gained a lot of knowledge, and disengaged families, not lazy. I will be utilizing that word instead, because it actually gives a broader span. Do you know what I mean? Lazy is just not lacking the effort. Disengaged means, you just, no matter whatever you're going through in your personal life, you just have that block. So that's actually a better word to utilize, especially when we're talking about our village. So I appreciate you for that. So much knowledge today, so much. And me being growing up in the Bayview district and having that experience of what a village is. My parents have been married for 53 years, and I had that great responsibility and had that great experience growing up, because they too, even though it was a mother and father, moving from District 11 in Lakeview, where it was all parents, all two-parent households, to moving to the Bayview, where it was like, I was very naive. The block I grew up on, it was like, my friends would be like, I'm going with my mama or I'm going with my dad. And I'm like, why don't you have the same one? And I didn't understand what that meant. But growing up in that atmosphere showed just how strong our community was, regardless of single parent households, regardless of the children having different fathers or which not. Everybody held each other accountable. Everyone stood up for each other, and everyone had each other's back. Getting back to those core values are so important, especially when it comes to our children's education. It's not just one person's responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities. When you see a child falling by the wayside, when you see a child struggling, go ahead and tap in with that baby. Make sure that you are being active in the solution and not just chastising the parent and saying what they're not doing. Because how can you sit there and point the finger and say what they're not doing right if you haven't even offered your help, assistance, and a solution for them? Like I said, I'm very transparent when it comes to my babies. I'm very transparent when it comes to my experience being a parent. My parents been married 53 years. Model behavior and also learning I have to get there and put my boots on the ground, running and storming for my children, and being that same force for other children that I know I come in contact with, even if I don't know them personally or they're not in my immediate circle. Children at my son's school, his friends, getting engaged in that way, because your children's peers are what influence them as well. So I noticed for my son, he was dumbing himself down to go along and get along with other people. After COVID, he excelled because he understood. He stood in his power, his individual essence, and he knew that I can be my own leader and I can lead by model behavior and show my friends it's cool to be smart. He has had the advantage of having his kindergarten and first grade teacher being Black, his fourth grade teacher being Black, he had 3 Black teachers in 6th grade and 8th grade. He had an amazing math teacher who was teaching them financial literacy. My son is a mathematician and he pulled it out of him. So that just made him blossom in so many other ways. I too agree. It is important that our children see Black faces in the classroom, understanding, and even having access to Black scientists. Shout out to Charisma. Black entrepreneurs who are making a difference in our community. Black doctors. All of these different job titles that they see somebody that looks like them, and that gives them that extra boost to understand I can do it. Work ethic, education, and putting my best foot forward. I can achieve these things too. And I just appreciate you ladies. Like I can give you so many flowers right now. So many bouquets upon bouquets for all of the work you guys are doing, being parents, number one, and then also being advocates for everyone else's child. I commend you ladies and I appreciate the work that you do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Io, for putting that together. So lovely. I just want to say this, Mauricio, because you're not gonna yell at me, okay? I'm gonna tell you now. I can't be there on the 26th because next Friday's my birthday. This Friday's my birthday. Not next Friday. It's my birthday weekend. I'll be out of the country, but when I get back, I'll make sure my team and somebody gets out there. But y'all ain't gonna yell at the bishop and say, "Where's the bishop at?" Okay, I'll get somebody out there to come support the event.
I put it on my calendar, and also the third Thursday every month.
Okay, so
y'all don't in my calendar.
So, with that being said, community, thank you all for putting up with me. I am a product of the San Francisco School District. So I have ADHD. They have diagnosed me as a problem, okay? So thank y'all for putting up with me today, okay? Because I'm suffering from this school district, okay? I have PTSD when it comes to the San Francisco School District. Some of the things that I'm missing, my brain, sometimes I don't know if it's right or left. It's because of the San Francisco. I put blame on the San Francisco School District, okay? Y'all messed me up. Now y'all got to deal with me, community. The bishop is all messed up because of the San Francisco School District. But with that being said, I want to give the benediction today because I know it's late. Y'all got to get out of here. They got families, they got kids. I just want to say shortly, community, today you have been blessed. These are the people. When we talk about the village, this is the village. This is the foundation of the mothers, the families who are coming together to make a difference in our community for our young people. When we say a village, it's multiple village. There's multiple districts. There's multiple parts of this village. Make sure you are doing your part to get involved, connect with the APAC. Make sure this school year you get involved and show up to the parent advisory meetings. Make sure you find a way to connect. There's a number of resources. We'll continue to spread the word. Make sure that you are not hindering the growth of your family. Do your part. Get engaged. Re-energize yourself in your understanding and your commitment to the very children that you brought into this world. Families. It takes us all, fathers, mothers, this year as adults in the community, find a way to fix the harm, bridge the gap, find a way to co-parent. All of this all comes together in the success of our children. We as adults, we have to be the leaders. We have to be the ones to show our kids, even in divorce, in separation, whatever the situation is, we can still co-parent. How do we expect young people to look up to us, to take advice, if we as adults, we can't even co-parent, we can't even engage in each other? We have to lead by example. A community, we have to be accountable. I'm holding all of the community mothers and fathers together to say, when do we take the first step in accountability to make sure that when our kids are present, when we're dealing with the co-parent, that we handle ourselves in a way that is in love, humility, and compassion? When do we uplift the other parent and not put down? How do we figure out a way to function, to leave love to our young people so that they feel the fullest completion that they can feel with both parents, even in the divided homes? Again, that is us. I always say the problem is the adults. The kids are only watching. They are a result of our behavior and our action. Do your part. Get involved. Find a way to connect. I am tired of people saying, I want to learn how to connect. Here's an organization, APAC. Go out there, find them. Go to their email. Connect with them. All of the information is there. I am tired of folks talking about they want to do something, but they don't want to connect. Hey, stop walking around with your head in the air, boasting about your degrees, and I just finished college. Find a way now to say, I need to get back to the community. I need to be a part of the village. I need to take what I've learned and pour back into my community. It's going to take us all. It's a challenging road. And to our allies, it's okay. We're not anti anything else, but it's okay for Black children to see Black educators, to see Black entrepreneurs, to see Black business folks, to see Black community or leaders that are putting their time and displaying what they can do to help uplift our community. It's okay. Don't get all offended, allies. We need your support as well. Have some understanding. When the babies come to your classroom next week, understand it might have been a trauma or traumatic situation that they dealt with. They might have had to deal with some substance abuse. They might have to deal with the gun violence in some of the communities that we are coming from. Have some patience. Be consistent. Connect with the families and the children before you correct them. Lead in love. Have some compassion and understanding before just writing a label and sending the kid to the office. Be patient, teachers. I understand there's a frustration with pay and the work you are committed to do, but you have the responsibility. You have the throne of our young people for 8 hours. Be a difference maker. Change the narrative. Bring the young people peace, comfort, and understanding. Keep loving on our babies community. It's a lot of work need to be done. But thank you, APAC, for the work you all do here at both sides of the conversation. Thank you, team, for continuing to uplift the voices of the people, making sure the disparities, the issues are highlighted, and we will be there. And thank you, school district, for all of my educational mishaps. You are the reason I'm dealing with it. Thank you, community. I am here. The bishop, we're looking forward to seeing all of you amazing folks back this Tuesday. Check us out this Tuesday. Every Tuesday, we're doing our Hidden Gem segment to highlight our Black and brown businesses, our community leaders, and organizations like APAC. We want to highlight them so you know where they at, how to get it connected. We don't want any more excuses. Where's the Black businesses at? Where's the Black organization? Tune in every Tuesday. Find out who's doing work in our community, what businesses and what folks are doing so you can be connected. And then this Thursday, we're going to have our Educational Thursday. We have some phenomenal folks to come on. So check out the flyers and all information that's coming out as we get ready, as we continue to step into this year to make sure that we are intentionally bringing the right folks onto this platform to help our community, bring those digital presentations to help us get this information that sometimes our community just doesn't get. So again, tune in, continue to support. We'll have another Sunday conversation next week. Yes, Friday is my birthday. Thank you, community. Early. It's Leo season. I can be the Leo fool. All right, but I'll be back. I promise you. I'm here with the people. And I appreciate you all. Without the village, without APAC, where will our families be? Get out there and get involved, community. I love y'all. I'll see y'all on Tuesday for our next live segment. Have a blessed evening, everybody.
Happy birthday.